I was actually really worried that I didn't actually hit play then. So I'm quite relieved that this has now started. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
I'm not going to lie, that starting fucking siren makes me shit my pants every single time it starts, man.
It's awful.
We desperately need a new one. Well, good evening, gents. How are we? How are we on what the fuck is Xbox doing week? You lads okay? Having a good week?
Brilliant.
I've seen some Hellblade marketing this evening, so I'm fucking fine and dandy.
Hellblade marketing tonight in May. Yeah. The game's out in a couple of weeks. So I'm glad they're on it.
Well, did you see that? Obviously, I know we're going to get deep in conversation, everything that's gone on, but did you see what they announced after them announcements come out?
No.
The controller, the Tango Orange controller as well.
Yeah. Bring the heat, it's called, or something like that. Bring the heat with the fire or something. It's like, just not.
Did you see the Aaron Greenberg tweet where he's like, "Oh, look, we've got all this marketing coming for fucking Hellblade this week." I was like, "Well done, Aaron. You're actually doing your job. Nice one." Well, give him a fucking cookie.
Yeah.
Jesus. Why are they just now doing the marketing for a game that comes out this month?
Because it's a digital only Game Pass game.
Should have been a month ago. Should have started out at least a month ago.
Well, we started it 4 years ago.
Well, yeah, but like proper marketing, like billboards and fucking cinema, like screenings and shit. Started it next week.
They're not going to do that for Hellblade, though, are they?
You fucking think so? How much they banged on about it for the last 4 years?
Yeah,
it's the first party game, isn't it? It's the big first party game of the year. I know they've had a couple of other bits. I think they've had a couple. Have they had another game? First party game?
No,
it's Hellblade. No, Ninja Theory did. What's that game called?
Do you mean this year? Do you mean like this year, BMG?
No,
yeah.
No. So I think released a couple on PlayStation, but
that runs better than on Xbox. How bad's that? Sea of Thieves runs better on PlayStation than it does Xbox, and it has adaptive triggers and haptic feedback.
You literally can't make this shit up. That's the embarrassing thing about it.
Me mate who don't live far from me is on PlayStation 5, and he picked up Sea of Thieves, and he says it's absolutely amazing. He loves it. He said if he knew it was this good, he would have bought an Xbox for it. And I went, don't worry, you didn't miss anything because the game was shit for years.
I mean, the first few months were rough. It's been great on Xbox for a couple of years now. I mean, I still think it was great at launch. To be perfectly honest, a little bit bare bones, but I thought it was good at launch.
It was fun for 5 minutes, and then when you realise, oh yeah, got to go there, kill this. Oh, go back to there and collect that. Oh, awesome, that's fun. Go there and kill this. Oh, awesome, and just did that. But go there and collect this, like all the fucking time, like.
You just described every side quest in every open world game in MMO.
Well, yeah,
that's all that was. That's all that was in it. Was like 3 side quests that you just run around the map, run around the fucking maps doing.
Where you was going wrong is you should have been playing with Fabio, because it's like a new game in itself. Is how can I push Fabio over the limit to where he just loses his shit? And him and Ash, when we play. Him and Ash go on the island, and Fabio's like, "Well, do this, go here, do that," and then I'll jump on the ship and I'll just set the ship off and fuck off and let it go. And he's like, "Oh, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, BMG, you fucking let the ship go again." I'm going, guys. See you later. Welcome.
Yeah, they've added some cool stuff since I've last played as well. I saw you can now tightrope across the grapples that you can get on the front of the ships, which is pretty cool. So, and they've got like more weapons. They've added some good stuff since I last played it. To be honest, I was thinking about jumping back in, but I put a lot of hours in Sea of Thieves.
I used to spend the majority of my time being sick into a bucket and throwing it at my teammates. That's it. That's pretty much all I did. And playing an instrument here and there.
I just like to run around, dig up grubs in the eat them all, and then go stand by Fabio and throw up on Fabio. And it just drives him insane. And it's just fun. It's just fun to see how many ways I can wind him up.
Who doesn't want to be sick all over Fabio?
Yeah, but I do want to jump back in. I've got it installed on Series X. I do want to jump back in because I want to see how well now settle down a bit, how well it's going to play against when you've got PlayStation players in as well. Just to see, how busy the seas are. Because me and Ash, it was just me and him, and we played a couple of times, and we just didn't see anyone. No one for a full game. It was that safer seas. We went on the safer seas. We didn't even see an AI ship. We saw nothing at all. It was that safe. There was nothing in the game.
Yeah.
And all right, we'll go back to normal. Went back to normal. First half hour, nothing. And then we bumped into 2 ships and we sunk one of them because we just thought it'd be funny to just go and sink them because they kept saying,
I mean, that's a
we're
game.
friendly. Yeah, we're friendly. Got messages, we're friendly. I was like, oh, okay, get near them.
Great, we're not.
That's it. while you're holding one of those flame fireballs in one hand, just ready to.
That's
ready to
That's it. And then we sat up and we see another ship on its own, and we thought, oh, let's, we're friendly. And we came close to it. It's like, start blowing them up. And then all of a sudden, another, someone else came over and then started attacking us as well. So we had 2 ships attacking us. But then this great big, ghost skeleton ship came over and started attacking them and left us alone. So
yeah, that was the beauty of Sea of Thieves, wasn't it? Just like those moments where nothing was scripted. You would mind your own business, and all of a sudden you're in a fight. Then all of a sudden the ghost ship gets you. And then all of a sudden a fucking giant shark is after you, and then you're trying to escape. And then all of a sudden the Kraken appears. That was the beauty of Sea of Thieves, wasn't it? It was kind of in those moments.
Does it have proximity chats? You can hear people screaming and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, you can.
Yeah. It also introduced. This was a while back now. They introduced I can't remember what they called it. It was basically like a horn, where if you use the horn, you can project your voice as well. Because the proximity chat was obviously if you're on the same ship, but there was this one where you could use it and you could project what you were saying to the other ships, and obviously they could project it to you as well. Which was always fun because the ship's miles away and you're just giving them shit from miles away. So
on the ship, fuck you.
It is good fun. It's not fun on your own. I don't get people that can play it on their own because it's not fun. Because it's good. You've got a crew. You've got to run the ship, maintain the ship, and all that. It's really good. It's good fun, and you can have a good laugh. And we've had many laughs, and mainly just annoying Fabio. It's because I don't understand what I'm meant to do.
Fabio.
I know there's go and get treasure, and you're meant to take it places. I don't understand any of that or the leveling system. I just like to shoot things. I like to set Fabio on fire. Drop a bomb at the bottom of the ship, and then it's time anyone notices it's too late because we're already sinking. Stuff like that. It's fun.
That's the beauty. It's funny because what you're describing there, is just Sea of Thieves. It's like that. You're not progressing necessarily towards anything. You're not worrying about I'm better than this person, that person. Everyone has the same weapons, the same health, and all that. And you're right. It's not. I couldn't play it solo. It's a shame they didn't maybe have some elements of persistence. Even if it was just food, because there was times when I was bored and I would happily just go on and do some fishing. But obviously, the fish that you catch, they're not there when you came back. But if there was some persistent elements, you could do things like fishing maybe, and then when I'm on with my mates later on, now I've got a boatload of fish to cook and we've got a shitload of food, between us. But obviously, that kind of goes away from what they were trying to achieve with Sea of Thieves. So
it's good. It's definitely rare. It first came out, didn't do well, but it's got such a following, such a they host these events where you get all these people coming dressed up. I won't go dressed up because it's a bit weird to me, but each to their own. But now they've expanded it to. We've already got PC players, obviously Xbox, but now they've expanded it to PlayStation as well. It's just giving more life to that game, and hopefully Rare doesn't get the axe studios, let's keep this game going, keep it going, let's get more people in, before we get sacked, but it's good to see. But I do need to jump in before we get sacked. It is true. It's true.
Fucking becoming true.
I'm telling you now, Hellblade will come out, whether it does brilliant or it does crap or it's mediocre. Their asses are going to be twitching because they're going to be like,
Ninja Theory's fucking shitting themselves.
It's the same length, pretty much the same length as the first game, pretty much the same game, but looks pretty. It's got a bit more combat.
I can't help but feel like Xbox has set Ninja Theory up to fail a little bit, if I'm honest, with Hellblade 2. There's been so much hype, so much promo, and the fact that they're already damage controlling, saying, "Oh, it's only going to be 8 hours. It's only going to be 30 FPS." I feel like they're setting them up to fail, and it's going to be digital only, and there's going to be no physical.
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily damage control, and I think obviously I think it's right that they set the appropriate expectations, because I think a lot of people had this idea that Hellblade was going to be Xbox's answer to God of War. In some cases, like you heard it a lot, or mainly just because it's a third-person action story game. And I think that in itself is setting Hellblade up to fail. If people go into Hellblade expecting God of War, then I think you're probably in for a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah.
So I think setting the expectations was probably the right move. To be honest, Hellblade, the original, I thought was an excellent game, and this is kind of more the same. It does look like they've made some improvements, obviously, and it looks absolutely stunning. So I can kind of understand the 30 FPS thing as well. So I'm not too sure whether it was damage control, and I think it was just really just setting the right expectations. So people coming into the game weren't expecting 60 FPS. They weren't expecting a 25-hour story, but I could see why you would say, it's damage control, because I think the reaction to that from the community was a little bit, it was met with skepticism, wasn't it? People sure. They've been working on it for 6 years or whatever, and it's only 8 hours long. And my reaction at the time was, fuck yeah, 8 hours of an excellent game. Give me more 8-hour games. I know BMG likes his fucking 100-hour Assassin's Creed.
I'll tell you what, 40 hours.
We need more games in that window, man. We need more games in that sort of 8 to 15-hour window, because too many games now are bloated. And when they said that, my personal reaction was like, yeah, I'm now more excited for the game. It's going to be a great linear 8 hours. I'm hyped, If they had said 25, 30 hours of Hellblade after playing Hellblade 1, that actually probably would have doubted my experience, my expectations, to be perfectly honest. So,
yeah. See, I think they could. I think they're getting it out now. I think if they let it cook a bit longer, they could have the 60 frames. I don't accept the excuse of 60 frames. Look at Starfield. Todd Howard says, because it's 4K for the experience and that, and now they've got a 60 frames coming out.
I take shit for this every single fucking week. I do this show, but Xbox's biggest to be fair, one of their biggest problems for me at the moment is they spend ages promoting the same game over and over again. It comes out, and then it's like, oh, by the way, it's gonna be 30 frames a second. Oh, for that cinematic feel. Then people are like, what the fuck? Like, everything you've been showing off has been like 60 frames a second. And then it's like, it comes out at 30 frames a second. Nobody fucking plays it. And then 8 months later, oh, by the way, guys, it's now 60 FPS. It just proves that you could have got to this point had the game had longer in development. That's my issue. Like it feels to me like they're pushing these fucking games out and they're not ready.
Yeah,
because I think they're so focused on this let's get a game out each quarter mentality that they'll push it out and patch it later. I fucking hate that mentality.
I understand where you come from when you say that, mate, but at the same time, like I look at like Starfield and they give it an extra year, man. They give that game more time. They did not want Starfield coming out when it came out, but they give it an extra year. Hellblade, that's been developed for ages. I don't necessarily agree that it's Xbox not giving the developers enough time to let them cook. But I think in the case of Starfield, they did. In the case of Halo, they did. They've given their teams extra time in a lot of cases. Redfall is just a perfect
example for me, I think, because like in the build-up, I mean, they put that fucking game on every single showcase. Look, Redfall, look what you can do in Redfall and all this shit. Every single fucking showcase they had, and it was running at what appeared to be 60 frames a second.
Yeah.
And I think it was like That's 2 weeks out. 2 weeks out from launch. Oh, by the way, guys, it's gonna be 30 FPS on console. But when that game come out, it was fucking horrific. Like I remember playing it for like an hour, and I was like I'm moving the sticks, but the gun isn't moving with me. It was just lagging to shit. And I was like, this isn't playable. This isn't fun. Like, why would you put it out in this state? And if the irony is, if they had just waited until Christmas, put out at Christmas, by Christmas the 60F patch was implemented. It would have had a much better reception, I think, had that game come out in a better condition. So people because first impressions are everything. I don't care what anyone says. Like when you pick up a game and you play it for the first time, you're either going to love it or you hate it. You'll put it down. You won't put it down. If you do put it down, there's a very good chance you're not going to pick it back up again. Do you know what I mean?
They should have delayed Redfall another year, so then it would have never have come out.
Yeah, no, you're not far off. They shouldn't have released Redfall.
It shouldn't have existed.
Yeah,
but
they should have either completely pivoted and almost rebooted it, or they should have scrapped it.
But they've got the foundation for the Blade game.
It's a different studio.
Yeah,
Wow.
Blade, Redfall 2, it's the same thing. It's going to be the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not going to be any different.
How much do you want to bet you're going to see some kind of assets, whether it be the vampires or likeness of vampires from Redfall, be used in Blade?
Not a chance. Not a chance, PMG. Come on.
It's going to be first person, 30 frames.
They've said it. Have they said it's third person? Haven't they?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure in the announcement they said it was going to be a third-person action game, if I remember right.
Yeah,
you don't remember when Dinger did the high kick and stuff at the Game Wars, and he was hyped as shit. I'm pretty sure he said it was going to be a third-person game. Someone correct if
I might be thinking Indiana Jones, because Indiana Jones is first-person, isn't it?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Big shout out for Muppet for the £2 donation. But Reddit, you are so bling, or so you say. When have I ever said that I'm bling?
Cheers, Muppet. I think like with Indiana Jones, if they bring out a physical edition where you get a hat and a whip and a jacket, I'm all for it. I'll pay whatever for it.
You're telling me you haven't already got a hat and a whip somewhere in that closet behind you there, PMG?
Not the kind of whip you're thinking of.
No. The wife's got the long black one with the free on the end.
Apparently Fabio's on the way now, so he should be here in a minute.
I saw a message. He said, meeting's finished, on the way home, and 20 seconds later it says, I'm home now. Does he live next door to his job?
Turn on my PC, waiting for PC. We're literally getting play-by-plays on Discord about where Fabio is at.
Yeah. It'd be on Twitter if he stopped messaging people.
Yeah, well, what he's going to do is, because of where Fabio lives, he's got his PC, but to charge the electricity in his house, he's got a cow that like pulls this rope, and it like pulls this like wheelie thing, which then charges his generator. So as this cow's walking around and pulling, it's just going faster and faster. So it's yeah. So that's
how it says Fabio's milking. No, that's what he's been doing. He's too busy milking that cow, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, got a few people in chat. Oh, Luke Steele's in. He's turned up. Recovery goes well, bud.
We got Masuka, we got Timmy, we got Luke Steele, we got Sensei who's dropped by, we got Muppet, we've got Thimba, we've got Ash like hanging around in the background being like a creepy pedo. We've got Scott in chat, he's in the podcast. Who else we got? That's about it.
Nicola.
We got Nicola as well.
You forget her every time, and then she gives me shit because you miss her every single time.
I don't mean to. I look at the name and I'm like, Nicola? Oh,
Nicola.
Why is there a fucking H in Nicola?
Nicola.
Yeah, cheers for tuning in, guys. Appreciate you being here. We are going to get into the big topic in a minute. We're just waiting for Fabio to show up.
You got Sensei as well.
We do have
why don't we talk about what we're playing? You know, we can. I think we skipped over that bit because.
Do you want to know what I'm playing again? Which I've spent many hours on the last 2 days.
You still knitting?
I'm back on Smite. I am back on Smite.
How on earth have you lifted your lifetime ban?
I haven't.
How did you get around it?
I was like, you know what? I don't need a Steam account. I'll just make a new one. Made a new Steam account.
What do you get a lifetime ban for?
Oh, being a cunt to people. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I was toxic in the chat, and they banned me for it. So I hold my hands up. High res won't happen again. I promise. But yeah, I've been playing that for the last 2 days. Fucking love it. Smite. I started to tell you what it is. I started watching the Smite 2 alpha gameplay, and my god, it looks so beautiful and unreal. Unreal 5.
What is it? I don't understand what Smite is. Yeah, but anything I've seen of it doesn't really tell me what the game is. You get these little clips. Is it like League of Legends?
You play as a god. It's exactly like League of Legends. Except League of Legends is, I think it's like looking down on it. Like Smite's more of a 3D MOBA. So like you can see up the lanes down. It's a lot of fucking fun. Let's get Fabio in. Fabio has arrived. The fabulous one.
There we go. How you doing, Scott?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How you doing?
Yeah.
What time do you call this?
I mean, what? Sorry.
What time do you call this?
I'll tell you what time it is. It's fucking late to all this.
Well, it is.
I'm sorry if I had a meeting. Okay, just
we moved the show half an hour later. So, because you said you'd be here on time. If we said the show was at 9 o'clock, you wouldn't be here till 9:30.
Okay, thank you so much for moving the time, but I would be late. Fuck off.
Shocking. So we try to accommodate you.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Let me just say here, like I'm just glad to see Scott here. I'm really sad to see sorry ass face Raiders and motherfucking BMG here. Honestly.
Me too, Fabio. It's a pleasure to see you, mate. These two fuckers, though.
Fabio,
I only came on because BMG told us you were going to be on.
Oh my god!
I thought we could talk Halo.
I really need to change my thing to Sonic fanboy as well, just to piss me off.
Fabio, we've already talked about the main issue. We're just winding down now.
We're done. We're done, Fabio.
In 20 minutes,
we're just talking about what we've been playing.
It must be done in 20 minutes.
There hasn't been anything to talk about, has there?
I mean, when you
know.
Slow news week.
I mean, you.
I was just getting the Halo, Fabio. Let's just talk
you
Halo.
Seriously already talked about everything there was to be on the.
We had one topic.
Yeah, we all came to the agreement that Sir Jimmy Ryan should take over Xbox, and
I'll tell you what,
the glory it could be.
No, Peter Moore.
No,
I never thought I'd say this, but Jim Ryan's starting to make Xbox look competent, which I never thought I'd fucking say. It's hard to be an Xbox fan at the moment. Like I'm just having a hard time with it.
We'll get there. Let's play what we're playing. Fabio, Redders, tell Fabio how you got round your Smite ban.
Oh yeah, I created a new Steam account and then created a new high-res account and then linked them both.
So
now I'm back on Smite.
So lost, but you still lost everything.
I lost all my skins, about £2,000 worth of skins, but at least I'm playing again.
But now it can go back to abusing children.
Go back to abusing children
verbally.
For some reason, this when Redders is playing,
really rephrase that shit. Like Jesus, I could go back to verbally abusing children.
It's like, I mean, it's amazing how Redders is like. This is a second chance, Redders, for you to be better and not lose your accounts again. And you will do the same thing. I know you will be doing the same thing. You are as toxic as fuck. Like
I'm a changed man, Lord and Jesus, Savior Christ, and all that shit.
You were just on about some nun getting pregnant with Jesus and then bashing its head in.
Oh, yeah, that movie was shit though. What a good movie. And avoid Immaculate, people, if you are watching this. If you're a big horror fan, Immaculate is garbage.
What about you, Scott? What have you been playing? Don't say Sonic. Don't tell me any Sonic.
Sonic Generations.
I haven't been playing Sonic BMG to be honest. I wish I was playing Sonic. No, I am. I mean, I've been playing a lot of Halo on that grind on Halo, but Infinite. Yeah, I've got.
You completed the battle pass already? The banished thing?
No, not the latest one. I'm like 13 out of the 20 or something, so not too much. I only play ranked at the moment though, so the grind up is a bit slow when you just play ranked. Yeah, so I've been playing that, and then Christ, what else have I been playing? I mean, I completed Harold Halibut not too long ago, and at the moment I'm playing Hades 2 and Euden Chronicles 100 Heroes. Yeah, it's fucking excellent, mate. Excellent. I've just seen Luke saying he's playing it. In fact, when we were chatting, I saw a pop up saying Luke Steele is playing Hades 2, and I got a little jealous. My Steam Deck's downstairs, otherwise I could be playing it here right now. So it's very good.
Big shout out to John TJ for the $5 donation. It's not Phil Spencer, it's the investors. I wouldn't blame him if he retires earlier than expected because the suits take over. What do you think? The shareholders end up screwing up everything. But I think that not just the investors are a problem, but Satya Nadella is starting to become a problem because there is of course some involvement of Phil Spencer because of course he is the CEO of the Microsoft gaming division. He's not just head of Xbox. I just take care of Xbox and that's it. No, CEO of Microsoft gaming. If
that those decisions were done, and he doesn't even know or has no involvement in like having a decision of even if they were like saying, Phil, we have no choice, this is what we have to do, and he's like, yeah, okay, so we're going to do it. Like, he had some involvement. It might have been minority, but like Satya Nadella and the investors are becoming a big problem, honestly.
I won't say investors.
I think Phil Spencer's a puppet for Satya. Honestly, I do. I think he's a yes man for Satya. I think
no.
I think he is though. I think Satya's like, Phil, we need to trim the budget a bit here. Like, even though we're a fucking second richest company in the world and we're $1 trillion company, well, like, I really do think we need to like trim the fat here a bit. And Phil's like, yes, sir, no problem, sir.
Well, what will you do? But Redus, what will you do? The guy is the chairman at Microsoft. Xbox, even though it is more lucrative than Windows, is part of Microsoft anyway. Satya Nadella owns everything. That's the issue.
He doesn't own anything. He's the CEO of the company.
No, but he is the no. You know what I mean? Like, he is the CEO and the chairman at Microsoft. Like, it is just like everyone answers to him. It doesn't matter how high their job is, like, is that.
But I don't think it's an investors, because you look at all past shareholder meetings.
I agree.
They don't care about Xbox. Xbox could go away tomorrow and not even put a dent in the multi-trillion-dollar company. It's not. Investors aren't going to say, you need to shut down X amount. They just want more money. They don't care how they get it. They just leave it to the business.
But I do disagree with you there. With you there, BMG. That like, if Xbox ended tomorrow, the investors wouldn't just not care whatsoever, because those investors do know that the gaming industry makes more money, even more compared to the cinema industry. So like, they want to have that share of the cake, honestly.
Sorry, I just want to do this. Shout out, Drawn TJ with another $5 donation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I get that, but what does he do? They are his bosses. Well, this is the thing. I think he's literally his strings are being pulled. That's what I think. I think that is like, oh, Phil, like we need to close a few studios. Like, what do you recommend? I think that's what they're doing. Honestly,
no, again, we don't know, because it's maybe. Because obviously there's only so much information that we know. We don't know the full behind the scenes things. We don't know how profitable each studio is, their turnover, staff, and things like that. We don't know these costs and things like that. We can question it, wonder why, think that's stupid. Tango Gameworks, when we come to it all, is definitely a mistake, because that's you wanted a place in Japan,
But like,
and that's that gone. But hang on.
But no worries. But like, if like Satya Nadella or whoever Phil Spencer, I don't know if Phil Spencer answers directly to him or if there's someone in between. But if they've said, look, you've got to save X amount of money or cut the budget by X amount across the board, and then Phil's had to then look at all studios or whatever, we don't know. We don't know how they've come to the decision on them, but we know it's only Bethesda that's been affected this round. So is it because they're running Microsoft studios, game studios, then you've got Bethesda, then you've got Activision, Blizzard, King. So is it like, right, under this umbrella of Microsoft Gaming, Bethesda the one that's making the least revenue? I know you've got Elder Scrolls Online, which is ZeniMax and things like that, but if they're looking at
even that studio's gone now, isn't it? Isn't Roundhouse the ones behind Elder Scrolls Online?
No. It's ZeniMax Online. ZeniMax Online is the one responsible for the Elder Scrolls Online, and Roundhouse Studios is just like Vicarious Visions became part of Blizzard. Roundhouse Studios is now part of ZeniMax Online. But like, we are getting our heads ahead of ourselves here. Like, BMG, what have you been playing?
Right, hang on. Well, because we got asked the question. Scott hasn't said what his thoughts. Yeah, it's all because we got asked. It was a super chat.
Yeah,
of course. Thank you so much. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's a lot. Where do you even start with something like this? I think it's interesting that we're talking here about the decisions that are being made and who's maybe pulling the strings behind the scenes. I think maybe what we should be asking ourselves is, why are we in a position where those decisions have to be made? Because ultimately there's economical reasons whether we can get into the individual studios, but I know a lot of emphasis has been put on Redfall in particular, but why are they in a position where they've had to make these financial decisions to cut jobs, close studios? Is it because those games weren't successful? If it was because the games weren't successful, why is that? I think we really need to look at kind of like the underlying reasons behind them finding themselves in that situation in the first place. Whoever was pulling the strings, so let's say it was Satya said to Phil, these studios aren't profitable enough. You need to cut some jobs. Well, Satya wouldn't have to say that if these businesses or these parts of Microsoft came and were maybe a little bit more successful, and then you've got to maybe ask yourself, why weren't they successful? And Redfall's a really good fucking example. It wasn't successful because you asked Arcane to make Redfall rather than something that they were, you used to making. Hi-Fi Rush, a lot of people celebrate the fact it was shadow dropped. I fucking love the game. It was my game of the year it came out. But was that the best way to release that game with no marketing straight into Game Pass at $30 or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe if these games were supported better, given more time, in the case of Redfall, maybe completely scrapped or pivoted at some point. Marketing would we be in a completely different situation?
The fucking game scrapped, like no developers are.
That was the report, wasn't it? Yeah, and I think Redfall's a really good. You make a really good point there, because we've got to remember Redfall was in development before Microsoft took over. This wasn't Microsoft coming in saying, Bethesda, you need to make a Back 4 Blood, Left 4 Dead type game. That was already in development, and that was Bethesda essentially trying to chase that particular trend, because some of their games weren't as commercially successful as they wanted. Those immersive sims, fantastic games, critically acclaimed, but maybe not commercial successes. And that's why you saw, and I'm kind of getting into it now, so I'll start after this next point, why the likes of Deathloop, Ghostwire Tokyo, why they got PlayStation exclusive deals, because Bethesda wanted that money up front to reduce the risk and absorb some of that cost of development up front. And Bethesda were trying to mitigate those risks as well by pivoting to a different type of model with some of their studios. Now, Microsoft obviously should have come in and said, hold on, is this a good idea? They're in a position where they could say, actually, no, maybe this isn't right. Let's pivot to something else, or scrap it entirely, start something different, maybe the next Prey, whatever. They obviously didn't in the end. So yeah, I think really what we should be considering is just like, why are they in a position where they're having to trim the fat, rather than who's deciding
I think a big part of the problem is that when they bought Bethesda, you got to remember, like, Bethesda was a multi-plat studio, a multi-plat publisher. Like, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, fucking a lot of their games, Doom, fucking all their games were multi-plat. And then Microsoft took over, like, well, yeah, we're going to make that exclusive now. And they were never going to get the kind of numbers I think that they were expecting just by pushing it on one console. So not only have they just bought Bethesda, they've now limited their revenue income to one platform.
Yeah.
So I think
not only that, an Xbox platform that is really struggling in the hardware stakes. As well, and we'll get into it more, but it ties into kind of Game Pass and Game Pass's ability to grow, or lack thereof, because of lack of hardware. But yeah, you're not really just reducing it to one hardware platform, because it was the other way around, and PlayStation bought Bethesda, and Redfall was only released on PlayStation. I'm not saying it would, but there's a bigger user base for Redfall. I mean, Redfall was fucked regardless. So let's not hide around the fact that Redfall was destined to fail regardless. But in another world, you've released the game to a PlayStation platform that has a significantly larger user base. There is potential for the game maybe to at least have a better chance of succeeding. I'm not saying it would have, like say Redfall, I don't think would have anyway. But yeah, you're limiting the user base to the smallest console or hardware platform, which makes it even more difficult.
Yeah, I agree. Someone banned something from chat.
So we might as well do what we were playing. You've got, what's Hades 2 like? Because I believe it's early.
It's Hades 1, but yeah, it's Hades 1, but better. It's basically players. Is it Zagreus from Hades when he plays his sister, basically Melanoi, I think it's pronounced. I can't remember exactly. So it's if you played Hades 1, kind of you know what you get yourself in for. But they've made a few refinements to the game, and generally I've played Battle and Howl before I came on the show tonight. It's great. The art style's fantastic. Hades 1 had the same. The gameplay is great. The music's wonderful. But yeah, it's in early access at the moment, BMG. I didn't play Hades 1 in early access. From what I gather, like Hades 1 in early access was very much like part of a game. Now, I'm only 3 or 4 hours into Hades 2, but I do get the sense of like there's more game there for an early access. It's not like you're just playing for the first 10% of the game or anything like that. There seems to be a fairly substantial amount of content, which is good. So I mean, honestly, playing it, if somebody told me it's just Hades 2, it's not early access, I wouldn't have had a clue. It's so polished. I'm playing on the Steam Deck. It runs a lock 60 frames per second. I've got the Steam Deck turned down to 1080p. It looks great. I know Luke might mention his OLED in the chat, and I'm just going to be a little bit jealous. But it just performance-wise, bugs-wise, it runs like a dream in my experience. So yeah, I really wouldn't be put off with like the early access aspect of the game. Like if you liked Hades 1, hey, jump in and check Hades 2. It's cheaper while it's in early access as well, man. Yeah, obviously, it's only out on PC at the moment, so.
Right. Okay, so it's just PC, not console.
Steam and Epic, and Epic. Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah,
should I go next, Reddit?
Go on, BMG.
I was just waiting for Reddit. He just looks like he's staring out the window.
Yeah, he should. Why have you been playing?
There's a squirrel running around out there. He wants to go and chase it with a stick.
Squirrel with a gun.
Like, are you the dog from Up? Squirrel.
I've never seen
it. Wow. Oh wow! I go do this super chat.
Goddamn, John.
John TJ is
like goddamn.
He just doesn't want to hear what BMG's been playing, man. He couldn't give a shit what BMG's been playing. He's just going to drop super chats. Every time we get to that, he's just going to drop that super chat.
John, I'm sorry, but like, first of all, thank you so much. Seriously. Second of all, stop being so nice. You can just send us a message. You can just send us a message without donating. We will read it. No worries, mate.
Go on, Reddit. Read it out.
Sorry for derailing your podcast. People say Phil Spencer should be fired. I disagree. Without him, we wouldn't have Game Pass, and these studios, who knows, they probably would have shut down more.
Yeah.
And then he's got his next one.
Then he also says, so is it a Microsoft problem or an industry problem? EA has shut down 22 studios. I think it's just an industry problem at the moment, to be fair. I think Microsoft...
I do think there is a Microsoft problem as well going on. Like, it seems that now... the moment that the ABK deal went through, which was a great thing, everyone celebrated. Out of the sudden, like the suits that Microsoft decided to say, Phil Spencer, go over there. We'll take care of this, and decided to make changes in everything because, like, the way Phil Spencer was acting before, like last year, was a different way in terms of like what was going to be happening, how good this is for Xbox. Because like before 2024, we were saying Bethesda, there's going to be a case-by-case scenario where some games will be exclusive, some are not going to be exclusive. When it comes to ABK, some games will be exclusive, others will not be exclusive, because we saw during all that FTC thing that was going on. Of course, Call of Duty is going to continue to be multiplats, but nothing was said about Crash, nothing was said about Spyro, so everyone thought, okay, this is going to be happening. As well as people were saying, okay, so Activision Blizzard King games are going day one on Game Pass, and the moment they get the deal through, yes, they are just going to be there over and over. Now we jump back to 2024. The deal went through. So you know what? We are going to put some games on PlayStation because the industry is not growing. We are not giving a fuck about our next big game that is going to be available in what? In 16 days, something like that. Hellblade 2. We got no marketing
Don't worry. Market is coming next week. Apparently, it's coming next week for Hellblade. You know,
he said that last week.
The tweet started.
He said last week.
It started.
He was referring to this one.
There's a tweet. There's a tweet on the official Xbox account.
Oh,
it started. It started.
It just said Hellblade.
It's there, man.
May 21st, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's just the same image that we saw before. It's amazing. Like honestly, I'm not gonna say that like you need to fire Phil Spencer, but I am honestly starting to consider for Xbox to fire Aaron Greenberg, because Jesus Christ,
it's fucking useless. I mean, I'll tell you what, I saw that tweet he put out, and I thought that was really fucking frustrating, because people have been saying for ages, like, Xbox's marketing is fucking shocking. Like, it's little to none. And yet he comes out 5 days ago to say, don't worry, guys, we got marketing for Hellblade 2 coming this week. It's like, oh, well done, Aaron.
We made a review on the marketing strategy, and we decided
you figured out how to do your fucking job. Well done.
And awesome. Like it's amazing. Like, you are going to see marketing from so many different things on the next week. He said that last week. We are right now on the next week, and the marketing that we got is we shut down 4 studios, and now all the other studios' morale is like fucked because of that.
Yeah,
God
I think Fabio, I think you touched on like something that I tweeted about yesterday, kind of in the aftermath of it coming out, which is, I think Xbox really have like, obviously a messaging problem. You know, people have been seeing that for years now, but I think they've really just got a problem with how they're really intent on being kind of open and transparent, particularly in social media. And I think what that leads to is situations where they're talking about marketing, but they shouldn't be talking about doing the marketing. They should be doing the marketing. They're talking about things and maybe not necessarily doing the things that they should be doing. And what that has also led to this sort of past 24 hours is you've seen people get the clips, get the quotes from Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and people like that, where they're talking about, you know, allowing teams like games like Pentiment and Grounded and Hi-Fi Rush to come out, and then obviously this happens. And the way that they communicate publicly is really coming back to bite them on the arse. And this is an example of that, where they're talking about it, but it's a direct response to people criticizing their lack of marketing. Aaron Greenberg's tweet was just a response to that public perception that we don't market our games. He's just trying to get out and say we are doing marketing, but he shouldn't be saying that. He should just be doing the marketing. People's response should be, holy shit, I can see a fucking billboard with Cinema on it. Like, I spoke about it. Was it last year? When did The Spoken come out? Was that last year? Like last March or February or something?
Yeah.
I remember talking about it at the time. So I live in a town in the northeast. Like, it's just a town. It's, you know, I don't live in like Newcastle in the city or anything like that. And I was driving to near me. I live near a river, and just driving like in kind of a little bit like the countryside. And I was driving past the co-op, and there was a big fucking billboard with Forspoken on it. Like, there was you know, actual physical advertisement for Forspoken in my little shitty town in the northeast. And I've never seen an Xbox advert on TV, you know. So,
like, look at the PlayStation marketing that they are doing with Stellar Blades. That's not even a first-party game. They don't own the IP. They don't own the studio. This is a game that was supposed to be multi-plat, and they made a temporary or full exclusive. Don't care, but like, and they are having billboards. They are having way more stuff for a game that is like not that big of a deal for PlayStation, but they are doing anyway. Like, we would love to have Xbox do something or go back into doing something just like they did during the original Xbox, where they painted Times Square green for the launch of the original Xbox and for the launch of Halo 2. Like, we never managed to get something as big as that.
Thing that I find really frustrating, I live in a very quiet town in the arse end of Cornwall, right? And yeah, I can go into my local cinema and I'm guaranteed to see at least 1 or 2 PlayStation trailers. Won't see a fucking single Xbox trailer. It's that kind of shit that they need to work on.
So you're watching the wrong stuff. I tell you, the best marketing place for Xbox is Pornhub. Because near enough every video you watch starts playing on Xbox. Yeah, it's mostly watched on there, but the actual consoles and games are in Pornhub.
Okay, after
why the PlayStation doesn't actually have a Pornhub app with the amount of people that fucking use it.
Like after that, like highlight Census comments of, are you guys going to play Hellblade 2? Did you guys pre-download it yet? BMG is not gonna play it. Reddit is not gonna play it. I bought it and I got it installed. So Scott probably is going to be playing it.
I haven't bought it. I'll be playing it on Game Pass, but it's pre-installed on my Xbox and my PC, so I'm good to go. I can't wait.
I've got no interest in it personally. Just doesn't appeal to me.
No, I couldn't deal with the voices.
The voices. It's the voices.
I really enjoy it.
I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't know.
If you watch some Ceci, if you watch some previous episodes, you will know why BMG will not be playing Hellblade.
We won't go into that.
To be fair, one of my biggest. I mean, to be fair, I tried to play the first Hellblade, and I have to agree with BMG. Like, there's too much shit going on in my ears. But I deal with my own mental health issues. Like, I don't want to sit there and experience someone else's. Like, it just doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah. But to answer Drawn TJ's question of should Phil Spencer be sacked, he doesn't think so. I don't think he should be sacked. You know, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be where we are. There's that saying.
Where are we, BMG? Where are we? Because I hear that sentiment a lot. I hear that sentiment, and I'm not seeing the other way. Like, the sentiment is Xbox won't be where it is today without Phil Spencer. But where is Xbox right now? Yeah, it's selling. Its hardware selling less than the previous generation, which is selling less than the previous generation.
But the software is higher.
The content and services, I mean, if you're looking at purely revenue, obviously we don't really get any information about profitability on that. Obviously, there are a lot of I've just seen Luke Steele saying that Schreier said that Tango had pitched a sequel to Hi-Fi Rush, and no, that's not going to happen. It's fucking gone, man. I loved Hi-Fi Rush.
Right. I'm just breaking news here a second. I think I've just closed fucking streaming. I don't know. It's fine.
Oh my
Bloomberg, more Xbox cuts are on the way across the organization. This comes after closing down Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, and other Bethesda studios. Xbox Game Pass has also not seen the growth that leadership have been hoping for, with non-mobile gaming subscription spending flat to low single-digit growth since 2021. So there's even more cuts coming.
Right. Let's get through what we've been playing, and then we'll get into it, because we're never gonna get there.
Like,
right.
Halo, come on.
Who cares at this point? Right. The brand's dead.
The hell up, Brad. That's BMG. Come on.
Halo Master Chief Collection. Myself, Fabio, Ash, and Muppet, we've all been making our way through the Halo Master Chief Collection. We've just finished Halo 4.
On Legendary.
I just want to say, on Legendary, I just want to say the Master Chief Collection is such a shit show. It lags like hell.
Are you blaming
No. Oh, see, Drawn TJ. I didn't even get a finish.
Drawn, Drawn. Okay, forget about
Drawn
it.
TJ with another $5 donation. Thank you ever so much. You guys forgot on the Don Matrick before Phil, they were going to sell the Xbox division.
Yeah, okay, so I agree, but it's Phil Spencer. Yes, he's done good. He saved Xbox, got it where it is. But there's a saying where if you stay the hero long enough, you live long enough to become the villain, something like that. If you heard that saying before,
I think if they need to get rid of anyone, it should be fucking Matt Booty.
No one is born a hero.
No, there's one way you.
But everyone the hero so much to the point where you become a villain.
Yeah, if you're the hero long enough, you live long enough to become the villain or something like that. But even though we don't know that,
anyway,
yeah, no, we don't want Don Matrick back or anyone like that. I'd have Jim Ryan in a heartbeat.
But you would have thought that they would have learned from Don Matrick that they need to be more fucking. They need better communication with the fan base, and they need to listen to the fan base. You would have thought they would have learned that from.
Hang on. Right.
Okay. So
finish Master Chief Collection. Finish Master Chief Collection. It was shit because it was so laggy as hell. It was very frustrating. I'm looking forward to starting Halo 5, the best Halo game in the franchise. And I played about 20 minutes of Days Gone before the show. I'm done.
Okay, I've been playing Halo.
Bring back Uncle Jimmy. So we
Okay,
should
so
start the campaign.
Okay, so I've been playing some Forza Motorsports, Halo Master Chief Collection on Halo 4, and some Halo Infinite. That's it. Okay, so Drone TJ, send as many donations as you can now.
Jesus.
Oh, dear. Well,
Yeah, I don't think. Don't get me wrong. I think Phil Spencer's done fucking wonders for Xbox because that company was in an absolute shit show after Don Matrick. But I just feel like he's out, like grown his strings. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, oh, come back here, Phil. Like we need you to, you know, getting a bit too far ahead there. Come back here, like dance puppet. I honestly think he's a yes man to Satya.
No, but like honestly, it is interesting when you see back in time, like the previous heads of Xbox, like you had during the 360 generation, like you had Peter Moore that was doing great. Then we had the Red Ring of Death. Then they got recovered and he left. We had Don Matrick that did he make a shit show of the Xbox One?
Oh, he came out on stage and started dropping.
Yes, he did. But remember, Don Matrick managed to sell more Xbox as well as peripherals because Kinect was an amazing success during the 360 generation, and this happened during the Don Matrick era where he said like we are not going for 40 million consoles, we are going for 300 million consoles. And of course they never actually got to that metric, but they had some really good success during that generation, from the beginning with Peter Moore to the end with Don Matrick. And then it became a shit show when the Xbox One got announced. And Phil Spencer been doing some really good things for Xbox. We got to a really great point of new studios, new games, the best deal for consumers, more transparency. You are like the leader of the Xbox division is an actual gamer, and la di da. And now we are having the same thing of like he starts great, and now we are having some really big bumps along the way because what happened with the messaging of Xbox, with the transparency of Xbox, after what happened yesterday, I really think it needs to be like a Herculean thing for them to manage to recover. I don't think that Xbox will go away. I don't think that the console will go away. I will continue to support the Xbox, buying hardware, subscribe to Game Pass, buying games, play, have my main gaming platform as being my console, of course. But like, I think they have managed to draw the morale of people so low right now since the official podcast, the rumors, the official Xbox podcast, and now this, we are back into the morale where the fans were having during the Xbox One announcements, where everyone's like, what the fuck's going on? Why am I supposed to support you? Like, and I think that's what's happening.
Well, Redders, why don't you sort of tell us what's been going on, what's happened? You know, that small little thing that's
intro to the big news. Everyone knows what's anyways.
I've just been for a piss and I've just refilled my juice bottle. That's
that's not what I was on about.
Oh,
when I said little thing, we weren't talking about your penis. There's no way we were going.
So what were you talking about?
Scott, I swear, Scott. By the way, I need to tell you, like, he's like this every single podcast. He's like it's not like he's making fun, like he's like this just every day.
Who are you talking about, me or Redders?
Oh, probably both of you.
What now? Fucking Jesus! I think if there's one person needs to get fired, it's Matt Booty. I can't stand it.
Oh my god, Redders. We asked you nice. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to be the host now, apparently.
Ask me the question. What was the question?
Yes, yeah.
Why don't you tell us what's gone on and why we're here doing this one thing of what's gone on with Xbox? And we have got the email from Matt Booty as well.
Jesus Christ, like a host of XBL who doesn't know how to host. God damn.
I needed a piss. Give me a break.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Right. Go on.
Why do I think that we've got to this point? I think...
No, Redders. Right, forget it. You just wait there a minute. For anybody
doesn't know what happened.
Isn't aware or you doing it? Go on, Fabio. Go on.
Yesterday, out of the sudden, it was released by tons of media outlets saying that Microsoft is shutting down 4 studios. Like, all of those studios are from ZeniMax Bethesda, where we had Alpha Dog Games, the mobile studio that released Mighty Doom. We had Roundhouse Studios that didn't release any games but was a support studio for Arcane Austin during Redfall. We had being now part of ZeniMax Online. We had Arcane Austin being also shut down, and the bigger thing that everyone is mostly complaining, which is they decided to shut down their only Japanese studio, Tango Gameworks.
I don't get that one. That's the one that pisses me off the most.
And everyone is like, what's going on? The studios on their Twitter pages all said like
Drawn TJ with another $5 donation.
Oh, God,
you need to have your own TV comedy show about gaming.
God,
definitely check out some of our previous episodes, Drawn TJ. You'll definitely be shocked and funny.
You'll definitely regret giving us your donations, honestly. But like,
carry on, Fabio.
Okay, so going on, like, so everyone is like, what's going on? What's happening? The studios themselves confirmed on their Twitter accounts saying we are being shut down. Thank you so much for supporting us. The games that we release either are being shut down, which is the case with Mighty Doom on mobile, and other games are going to remain working normally. Like every single game from Tango Gameworks will continue to be there, as well as Redfall from Arcane Austin. And we also had an email, like this was all shared to the teams at ZeniMax by an email from Matt Booty, which I don't have it here. I think BMG has it. BMG, can you read it, please, to us? What Matt Booty said?
I can. It's a bit lengthy, unlike Redders.
You've got one job.
Well,
said the host who doesn't know how to host.
Right.
I'm hosting. I had to go for a bit.
You're just quiet.
Right. So an internal email that was sent by Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios. Microsoft blamed the cuts on a reprioritization. I can't pronounce that word. Reprioritization of titles and resources. The email has been verified by IGN as it is below. Okay, so quote, today I'm sharing changes we are making with our Bethesda and ZeniMax teams. These changes are grounded in prioritizing high-impact titles and further investing in Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games and beloved worlds, which you have returned over many decades. To double down on these franchises and invest to build new ones requires us to look across the business to identify the opportunities that are best positioned for success. The reprioritization, I think I got that right, of titles and resources. He's using long words. Okay, titles and resources.
Well, you know, we've been looking across the business and we decided that you guys just aren't waiting on us.
Don't interrupt him. He's reading.
Hang on. We're going to be here all night otherwise. Scott's about to fall asleep. I can see him leaning more and more that way. A few teams to be realigned to others, and some of our colleagues will be leaving us. Here are the changes going into effect. I'm assuming this is straight away. It doesn't obviously say it's a time and date, but obviously the studios have tweeted out. Arcane Austin, this studio will close with some members of the team joining other studios to work on projects across Bethesda. Arcane Austin has had a history of making impactful and innovative games, and it is its pedigree that everyone should be proud of. Redfall's previous update will be its last as we end all development on the game. The game and the servers will remain online for players to enjoy. Nobody's enjoying it. And will make good offers to players who purchase the Hero DLC. Alpha Dog Studios. This studio will also close. We appreciate the team's creativity in bringing Doom to new players. Mighty Doom will be sunset on August 7th and will be turning off the ability for players to make any purchases in the game.
It's come out.
Yeah, but I can understand Alpha Dog Studios being closed down because you've got King. So, anyway, we'll get into that when we go through the studios. Tango Games Works will also close. We are thankful for their contributions to Bethesda and players around the world. Hi-Fi Rush will continue to be available to players on the platforms as it is today. Roundhouse Games. The team at Roundhouse Games will be joining ZeniMax Online Studios. Roundhouse has played a key role in many of our recent game launches and bringing them into ZeniMax Online Studios to work on The Elder Scrolls Online, which will mean we can do even more to grow the world that millions of players call home. With this consolidation of our Bethesda studio teams so that we can invest more deeply in our portfolio of games and new IP. A small number of roles across select Bethesda publishing and corporate teams will also be eliminated. Those whose roles will be impacted will be notified today, and we will ask that you please treat your departing colleagues with respect and compassion. We will provide our full support to those who are impacted in today's notifications and through their transitions, including severance benefits informed by local laws. These changes are not a reflection of creativity and skill of the talented individuals at these teams or the risk they took to try new things. I acknowledge that these changes are also disruptive to the various support teams across ZeniMax and Bethesda that bring our games to market. We are making these tough decisions to create the capacity to increase investment in other parts of our portfolio and focus on our priority games. Bethesda remains one of the key pillars of Xbox with a strong portfolio of amazing games, thriving communities. As we look to the future, there is an impressive lineup of games on the horizon. In 2024 alone, we have Starfield Shattered Space, Fallout 76 Skyline Valley, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and The Elder Scrolls Online's Golden Road, as we align our plans and resources to best set ourselves up for success in the complex and changing industry. Our teams across Arcane Leon, Bethesda Game Studios, id Software, Machine Games, ZeniMax Online Studios, and the Bethesda publishing and corporate teams will be well positioned to build new IP, explore new game concepts, and expand our existing franchises. Matt. That's it. That is the whole entire email.
It's like watching the end of Old Yeller, isn't it? Just taking them out into the field and blowing their fucking head off. It's just,
Jesus.
God.
I can't.
They need to get rid of Matt Booty, I think. I mean, isn't he like fucking head of like the gaming, like creative aspect? Isn't he like?
He's just head of Microsoft Game Studios.
Isn't he the one that's supposed to do like quality control and shit?
By the way, highlight since it's coming right now. It was great to catch up with the Pod Boys. I'll be on my way now. Have a solid rest of the show, Jeff. Thank you so much, Sensei. See you later, bud.
It's a pleasure, buddy.
Death to the Knicks. I don't care.
Death to the Knicks.
I hate the New York Knicks, honestly. God damn.
Yeah, they need to. I think Matt Booty needs to fucking go. Because like he must be one of the main reasons why these shit games keep coming out. I'm just gonna blame him. Fuck it, blame him for everything.
I guess what are the shit games though, Reddit?
Right. Okay. Well, think about it. Right.
Let's talk about the games.
I get torn into every fucking week on this podcast about my opinion on this.
When you're here.
When I'm here. Forza Motorsport came out, required multiple patches to fucking fix. Starfield came out, required multiple patches to fix. Redfall came out, required multiple patches to fix. Every single AAA game that's coming out of Xbox seems to require multiple fucking patches to get to a work. Halo Infinite required multiple fucking patches to fix. Sea of Thieves required multiple patches to fix.
No. But are you talking about fixes or are you talking about updates on contents?
I'm talking the games were shit.
Halo Infinite,
they needed updates.
So why are you saying fix?
Yeah,
they needed updates.
I understand where you come from, but I think there is a distinction between, say, Halo Infinite and Redfall. I don't think it's fair to categorize them in the same way, because Redfall just was.
Redfall was completely
Halo Infinite. Yeah, Halo Infinite was good at launch. Yeah, it was just they struggled with the live service content. It still launched with a what I still think is an excellent campaign. That was working. It wasn't like buggy or anything like that. The multiplayer was excellent when it first came out. The issue
said Spider-Man 2 cost $315 million and the glass didn't break when I smacked it.
Yeah, but Halo Infinite's issue was they hadn't set aside the appropriate time to have a pipeline of content for a live service model. It wasn't broken. It wasn't that, like, the one thing that people will point to is the co-op side of things, or little things like that.
Or like elites and assassinations, but like overall, the game was pretty solid and good.
Yeah.
What made people get
missing?
What was missing?
What
the campaign was missing. The
campaign wasn't missing.
It was.
The campaign was there from start to end.
Was there, goddammit.
Co-op was missing.
You didn't play Halo then, apparently.
Game modes were missing. Fucking, there's a lot of shit missing.
Okay, so you are talking about content. You're not talking about fixes.
Well, yeah, but
thank you. There we go.
Sea of Thieves is another example. Like, you guys always talk about how great Sea of Thieves was. When that game first came out, there was nothing to it.
Reddit, you need to come over to PlayStation. You don't have
fucking do. I'll tell you what, I've been considering it the last 24 hours. I'm like, you know what?
Do a Tim Dog.
I'm tired of dying on the hill.
Oh, don't say that name.
Do a Tim Dog.
Don't say that name. Don't say that.
I hate Xbox now.
Hey Xbox. I love PlayStation. Everything's coming over here from Xbox. I told you it was going to happen. I'll play it all day. I'll happily pay for it all.
I just love how, like, he decided to say, guys, I'm going to be more positive towards PlayStation because this is going to be my console of choice. And anything about Xbox, I'm going to keep it at a minimum. And then every single day he's saying Xbox is the console that is going to be dying. Yeah, nice.
But that statement in itself is fucking delusional. Guys, I'm going to be more positive about PlayStation because that is my console of choice. That statement alone is fucking delusional. That's like saying, "Oh, well, I'm not going to criticize this because that."
Just mute. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm friends with him on PlayStation.
I muted him like the moment he started bitching because here's the thing. The moment the 4 games were announced and he decided to say that everything is going to be multiplayer because Phil Spencer told me that I am very good in connecting dots. That's the moment that I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm going to mute your ass.
Yeah, the guy's a fucking moron. I've got him blocked and muted, but he still was fucking trending on Twitter the other day.
That's what I'm saying. The fact that he's come out and said, well, now that PlayStation is my preferred platform of choice, I'm going to be more positive towards PlayStation.
The guy's a moron. The guy's a moron.
Me. Go on. Sorry.
No, go for it. I was just going to touch on something that Red said before. We'll go for
I was just going to say, me, Tim Dog, and Mikey Barra are like that on PlayStation.
Well, Mikey Barra likes putting his foot in it these days, doesn't he?
Oh, he does.
He loves putting some controversial tweets out. But I think Red is just to go back to
a good human being.
Going back to your issue with the game.
He did come out in support of Phil Spencer, though, did Mikey Barra?
Well, yeah, but then
exactly when loads of developers are getting laid off, let's go to the defense of the really rich CEO. Yeah, tone deaf is
$1 million fucking salary a year.
Yeah. But you got to remember, this is the guy that also wanted to tip developers because $70 isn't quite enough. So he wants the ability to give them more. How fucking
even Major Nelson, like former Major Nelson's been jumping in as well. Oh, any of the studios affected by the layoffs yesterday, hit me up. Did you see that on Twitter? He's like getting
He
developers
did, yeah.
to reach out to him, but they've been laid
Aaron,
off.
even everyone's talking about it. Even like Larian Studios, Arrowhead, everyone is talking about this shit right now.
Yeah, I think it's.
Theory.
Yeah.
I have a theory about why it's all gone tits. By the way,
We don't care. So
hang on. Before you do, because Scott was going to answer your question first.
I was just going to go back, when we're talking about games, I do want to say, like, I do think there's a distinction between the likes of Halo and Redfall. One game was
broken.
Yeah, broken. The other game, there was maybe a live service content issue. But I do think that your kind of overall point about, Xbox games is fair. I don't know if you saw the Jeff Grubb came out just yesterday talking about how Perfect Dark is seemingly in a hot mess. Obviously, we've not seen anything of Everwild.
We've been waiting for that game. That's the thing. We've been waiting.
I don't think like Starfield. I mean, Starfield came out in a decent state.
Not pretty good,
especially for a Bethesda game. But I don't think we can necessarily pin any of Starfield's woes on Matt Booty necessarily. But there's obviously some sort of issue which is preventing games from coming out either on time or at all in some cases. Because we've got it where Halo was delayed, Forza was delayed, Everwild's gone missing. Hellblade's obviously taken 6 years. Redfall was delayed and it was shit. Yeah, Perfect Dark's obviously in limbo. There's Contraband. The Coalition haven't released anything in fucking years. State of Decay 3 has been announced, and we haven't seen anything of that. Halo seemingly has another game in the pipeline, but that's probably 3 to 4 years off at this point. So I do think there's
seriously going wrong there. I think
there's definitely an issue with how they're managing their development pipeline. And I think what we thought with these acquisitions was this was gonna give them an opportunity to give teams time but still have the content out. You don't have to rush Starfield out because you've got, I don't know, Everwild coming out, Perfect Dark coming out, or you don't have to rush that because your Gears coming out, or you don't have to worry about that because Double Fine are releasing
not just that. You don't need to wait for such a long time and be such a terrible wait for this big AAA game coming, because we are going to be releasing also these smaller passion projects, just like Hi-Fi Rush, just like Grounded, just like Pentiment, and apparently what the impression that everyone's having is we are not going to be doing that anymore. So what happens? Everyone needs to do a big, huge AAA game that is going to be take 10 years to be done.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's true or not, but someone said that Bethesda hasn't put out a AAA game under Microsoft yet. Everything was already in the works before.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I guess they've only been in there for 2 years. Yeah. Was it 2 years, 3 years now? It hasn't been that long. So no game that was greenlit since the acquisition will have been released. I don't think it's had enough time. So I think I wouldn't disagree with that, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing necessarily at this stage, just because of the length of time games seem to take to develop at the moment. So, I mean, Indiana Jones, that was announced just before the acquisition.
No, it was after. Yeah, it was announced after the announcement of the acquisition, and then a bit after the announcement of the acquisition. Yes, they.
Yeah.
But it was already agreed. The game was already agreed before.
Yes. The deal wasn't done yet, but Xbox said we are going to be
but the deal was
Bethesda.
done.
The deal was done. Was already done.
For Indiana Jones, the deal was done. If Todd Howard did, and I'm going back a fair bit now, he did an interview where they were. It might have been actually during COVID, where they were all, or just before COVID, where they were all on camera because Todd Howard doesn't have social media, and he had all the Indiana Jones stuff in the background, which was the tease, if you will, because he's a big Indiana Jones fan. But no, that was because you got to think deals with Disney probably years in the making before I was decided, because they've got to decide, pretty much pitch the concept for have everything agreed, contract signed. But no, that was agreed. That deal was done because originally it was multi-plat. So obviously it was before Xbox acquired them. Microsoft acquired them, because originally it was a multi-platform game, but Xbox, Microsoft have paid or what Disney to change that and to make it exclusive. That could change now. We just don't know where that's going. But I did ask. I put it in chat, but no, I don't think anyone's answered yet. I've not read. Do you trust Xbox?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, not at all. And I've been an Xbox consumer since the 360. And I think now, this period that we're in right now is the least I've trusted them in the whole time I've been with the ecosystem.
Yeah. I mean, I've been since the original Xbox. My Xbox Live account's like 19 years old or something now. Like, so I've been around a while. I think the first thing I would say, BMG, is like, don't fucking trust companies. Do not trust businesses. Like, we should never trust it. You shouldn't trust Sony. No. We shouldn't trust Nintendo.
I think when you buy it,
I think it's more interesting to ask, like, we all know everyone's morale is like really low right now. We understand that. We are, the four of us are like that. We are not going to be saying everything is fine, everything is okay. It's just another awesome day, la di da. But like, the question is, like, I think the question that would be interesting is, instead of just saying would you trust Microsoft or Xbox, is would you consider, after what happened yesterday, leaving the console for good?
Yeah.
Well, let me rephrase it. Do you trust in Xbox's vision?
No.
Their vision for where they're at, the stuff they're doing to pivot, to put more into other IPs, new IPs. Do you trust Xbox's vision for the
Absolutely
future?
not. I'll tell you why. I've
got a vision. They need to have a vision, because I thought that their vision was something, and then it changed at the beginning of this year, and it changed again yesterday. So what is Xbox vision? I hope they tell me on the June showcase, honestly.
I honestly think that they bought Bethesda with the intention of making Starfield exclusive and Redfall exclusive, hoping that would be enough draw to get people to buy hardware sales. I think they think that fucking Redfall and Starfield were going to be system sellers.
No,
and they launched.
I don't agree. With
I think they did. Honestly, I honestly think they.
Do you not think Starfield?
No,
you can't see the argument that Starfield could be a system seller.
I don't, because Phil Spencer's said for so long that they know they're not going to win the hardware race. They know they're never. I think it was all to do with subscriptions. It's all about building that subscription. I think that's what the Starfield was.
Here's the thing, Scott. Here's the thing, Scott. I think that Starfield is a system seller, but like, I don't think they acquire Bethesda thinking that Starfield is going to be the huge system seller that we get, because like, just Phil Spencer said that we are not going to be winning the hardware race. Plus, they are still bringing their games to PC and cloud to PC on day one. So the moment they announced that all of our games are coming to PC and console at day one, the vision that everyone was thinking is like, they are not going to be caring about the number of hardware. They are going to be caring about what even Sony themselves said, which is, hardware doesn't matter. What matters is the number of active users. So I don't think they acquire Bethesda thinking we are going to sell so many consoles now. It's going to be crazy.
I think that's fair.
I think they've lost the exclusive race. I think that's the thing.
They were never in it.
Exactly. I think they bought Bethesda with the idea of, great, now we've got some studios that can put out some good exclusives. And the exclusives that have come out have not been great. They've been shit. And now they're like, oh, fuck, well, it's not. It's really not.
It is. I really enjoy Starfield.
Starfield is a load.
It's your opinion, mate. You can stick to it. I stick to mine.
I've just got this feeling.
It's a loading screen simulator.
Everything is going to be chucked into Call of Duty. I think Call of Duty is the thing that's going to take center stage. Call of Duty, I don't think we're going to see all these studios being taken out of that juggernaut. I think we're going to see more added into it. I think they're going to make that game for Call of Duty the biggest focus of Xbox. Yeah, but it's going to drag. They're going to drag more.
Double down on it.
Yeah, I think you're going to find we took more teams more teams, more developers. We can release a game every year, but each year's isn't going to be shit. It's going to be well detailed, well thought out, deep, immersive. I think that's what we're going to go for, and I think that's a bad thing. I think where we're at now, what we was expecting from Xbox with Bethesda and ABK, I think it's like that monkey paw wish. It's like, oh, it's going to be amazing. We're going to have all these exclusives. And now we're starting to see things don't turn that way. Like the whole, we want to get into the Japanese market. We want more studios there. You have had a studio there making games, and you shut it down. You came out and said, Hi-Fi Rush beat expectations. It was, absolutely brilliant game, reviewed really well.
They even said they were going to invest back into it.
And then you shut it down. You pat them on the back with one hand and show them the door with the other. It's like...
just like Jim Ryan leaving PlayStation. Excellent work. You're fired.
Like, I think the messaging is really screwed up to the point where, like, okay, we are not getting as much money, but like, why? Because we spent so much money on ABK, and Game Pass subscriptions haven't increased. Okay, have you thought about putting then the Call of Duty games right now on Game Pass? Like, why didn't you do that the moment the deal got done? Because I truly believe that, like, Xbox is like, oh, we are losing so much money. We are losing money now, and like, my God, there's no way to recoup it. Like, how can you say that the ABK deal was, we are not getting a return of investment, when you didn't even manage to exploit the investment that you made? Because people were all saying Game Pass is going to be huge because Xbox will be the house of Call of Duty. Yeah. And instead, there's a lot of people there are going to stick to their PlayStations, but tons and tons of people will also like, wait, why should I spend $70 on a yearly game or a 2-year cycle game here? Why don't I buy a Series S or a PC or just a Series X if they want to, like, the best performance and power to be my secondary console, so I can always play Call of Duty without having to spend $70 every year?
Reddit, can you bring up iconic video games message comment? I agree with that.
The biggest mistake that Xbox ever made with Call of Duty was allowing PlayStation.
Oh my God, Iconic! Don't say that, please. Don't say that.
Yeah.
I know, I agree. I think the thing is,
that's so hard. No, Iconic.
But it's such a big possibility.
I'm Iconic. First of all, thank you so much for being here. Second of all, goodbye. I'm banning you forever.
Yeah,
but it's a legitimate fear, isn't it? With a lot of these smaller studios, because essentially what and I've kind of got like a wider point which touches on what you talked about, Fabio. It also touches on something that Muppet said in the chat as well, which is like, if these studios aren't creating kind of like blockbusters or very commercially successful games, they're kind of at risk. If you're not producing a Call of Duty, if you're not producing a Halo, and I know Halo's had its problems, but it's, the microtransactions in Halo are still proven to be very successful. You can see just by playing the game by how many people are wearing the cosmetics that cost 30 quid a pop. If you're not an absolute commercial success, then you run the risk of this, and then that calls into question, like, what's going to happen with Double Fine? What's going to happen with Ninja Theory? What's going to happen with these other studios that they've picked up? I think some games and some studios are obviously safe. Something like, I think Rare is obviously very lucky they've got Sea of Thieves. But if Sea of Thieves didn't turn out to be a success, what's going to happen with Rare, considering Everwild's seemingly in the abyss? And I think for me, and like I said, it's kind of touched on what you're talking about with Game Pass, Fabio, and it touches on something that Muppet said in chat. I think the biggest miscalculation that Microsoft have made is their not necessarily reliance, or maybe it's a bit of reliance, but their expectations for growth of Game Pass outside of the console space. I think they expected Game Pass to grow outside of Xbox hardware owners significantly more than it seemingly has. So I think they
I
expect significantly more subscribers on PC and significantly more subscribers on cloud. And obviously, neither of those have necessarily have taken off.
The Game Pass is never going to be able to compete with Steam.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the miscalculation that they've made. So what they've done is they've doubled down on this idea that hardware isn't necessary, because the platform or Game Pass in this case is the key thing or the platform. And Muppets say hardware makes them little cash, and it's about building an ecosystem, not hardware. Just ask Apple. But you tell me, what do Apple sell you? They don't sell you a subscription. They sell you the hardware. They sell you an iPhone. They sell you an Apple TV. Yeah. Yes, you subscribe to Apple One or whatever the fuck it's called these days.
But it is through the hardware.
It's on the hardware that you're buying. So the hardware...
And it's their own hardware. So it's like they're not going to be sharing that revenue with anyone else. It's their hardware.
Exactly.
It's their subscription.
Exactly. So, and this is why console hardware has often been kind of a loss leader, or something like you would hope to eventually break even on. You're happy to take the loss there, because what that brings in is the 30% on every game that's sold, on every microtransaction. Obviously, you then got a platform to push your own services, your own games. So yes, it's about building an ecosystem, but that ecosystem begins with the hardware, which is the platform for you to build upon. And that's why we've seen Game Pass subscribers slow down. Because the Game Pass, I imagine the attach rate for Game Pass on console is probably 70% or something stupid like that. I imagine it's really, really high. We know we've got 34 million Game Pass subscribers, and how many consoles, series consoles have been sold? I think it's probably about 27 million or something, maybe something like that. So they've got more Game Pass subscribers than they've got consoles. That tells me that the attach rate, particularly on Series X and S, is ridiculously high. And now that they're not selling the hardware, the user base that's more inclined to pick up those subscriptions, they've saturated that entire user base. They cannot sell Game Pass into that anymore. So that's it. You don't have the hardware, you don't have the platform to sell a subscription to. The subscriptions aren't going to grow. And I think I made this point earlier on Twitter today, which is, if we're in a position right now where Game Pass had, let's say, 75 million subscribers, so more than double what they had, I don't think we'd be having the same conversation, because the revenue generated by Game Pass would make that model more sustainable. But at the moment, what you've got is the revenue coming in from Game Pass, which is probably cannibalizing sales, just genuine sales on Forza or on whatever game it might be, and it's actually having a negative impact on the cash flow of the company. So, but if they had more subscribers, that would be less of a problem. But because they don't have the hardware user base, they don't have the opportunity to sell into that.
Yeah, but they're not giving people a reason to buy an Xbox either. That's the thing.
We need to.
All this talk about bringing Game Pass to TVs and to fucking devices and handhelds and PCs, and there's literally no reason to fucking own an Xbox at this point.
I mean that goes back. That goes back years.
But it goes back to the moment they announced Xbox Play Anywhere, which is like, you buy our game once and you can play it on PC, and we are going to be releasing our exclusive games to PC, and that's it, la-di-da. But like, they know that even though they are going to that, like, we are heading to that active user base mark, they know they are going to have a core audience that is going to prefer to play on console. I am one of those. I don't play on PC. I don't play on cloud. So they know there's people who are going to also continue to be there. Sure, of course, it's not going to be as big as the PC user base or the cloud user base in the future, but still, it is some sort of revenue that they still want to get, because they don't want money, they don't want a lot of money, they want all of the money. And when it comes back to what Scott said about Game Pass sabotaging the sales, like, it is something that is so bizarre, because like, how, like, let's take into consideration what happened to Tango Gameworks. Let's consider that they decided to shut down that studio because they are not making as much revenue as they should be, or something like that. So let's put everything that is in fact. Like, so they decide to acquire Bethesda. The first game that Tango Gameworks decides to make for Xbox, like, of course it was being worked on previously, but like, the game is announced as a shadow drop. There was no marketing campaign, there was nothing. It's just on the developer direct, like, yes, it's here, you can play it right now, that's it. And it was already released on Game Pass. So like, the moment that Microsoft created Game Pass and said our exclusive games will be there day one, people were thinking they are going to be caring more about the subscription, not necessarily as many unit sales, because people were considering that if I'm subscribing to Game Pass, I'm going to also be supporting the devs. The same way as people, as we all think that if we buy the game, I'm going to be supporting the devs also. And like, when you see the situation with Hi-Fi Rush, like, oh yeah, the game did not got to that huge sale mark even on PlayStation, and they decided to shut down. Like, come on, you decided to shadow drop the game. You decided to create Game Pass and make it go day one
Yeah.
there, and
And
you are
but that was the point of Game
you're
Pass, though, wasn't it, Fabio? To allow those
exactly
games to thrive. The whole point, one of the key benefits that
exactly.
they've said with Game Pass is you generate revenue from subscriptions. So you're putting content into it to retain and grow those subscriptions. What that allows is games like Pentiment, games like Grounded, games like Hi-Fi Rush. It gives those games opportunities to succeed in maybe a market where they wouldn't have previously, because selling one of those games for $50 to $70 in a saturated market, particularly in the current economic climate, is difficult. Putting in a subscription gives that game instantly, well, obviously at the moment 34 million or whatever the split is between core and the other platforms. Let's say 30 million, gives instantly 30 million potential users. But at the same time, you've got to accept that that means that the people, I mean, look, I'll use myself as an example. What I will say is Xbox have lost money from me since Game Pass came out, because I didn't buy Halo. I didn't buy Hi-Fi Rush. I would have bought these games. I didn't buy Redfall. I didn't buy Starfield. These are
Okay,
games that I've played. So they've lost money on me as a customer. But I think the point of Game Pass is trying to raise kind of like the average amount of customer spends.
you're telling so you're just telling us that is all your fault? You asshole! Come on!
So it's all my fault. Yeah, Phil, come at me, bro. No, but that's the model that they decided, and I imagine, and I guess the way that I looked at it was what they're kind of looking to do is they're trying to increase the value of individual customers. If the current average customer spends $100 a year on Xbox, well, they want to bring that up to $150 by having them subscribe $15 a month or whatever that would work out. They want to bring that average up. But again, you need the hardware to sell the servers to, and you need the games to sell the hardware. So it's kind of like a vicious circle that unfortunately has come back and bit them on the ass.
It's still that's the issue that I'm trying to say. Like, I think the biggest issue that's been going on is what for them to share their vision with us, they need to nail on the messaging of that.
I don't even think
if yeah, like everyone thought they had a certain vision last year after the Xbox podcast. We thought, okay, they changed the vision, is going to be probably this, and now we are in a situation where, like, because of the facts that this happened yesterday, and no one from the Xbox leadership, Matt Booty, which is the head of Xbox Game Studios, Sarah Bonds, which is the president of Xbox, and Phil Spencer, who is the goddamn CEO of Microsoft Gaming, none of them said anything. tell us something. Explain the silence that they made is something that honestly was like, okay, you're not helping this situation.
We'll probably have a business event in the next fucking 2 weeks.
No, they shouldn't. They say, I think me and Scott were sort of touching on it on Twitter earlier. My opinion is they should take the Nintendo and PlayStation approach and say nothing. Like the games that will come into PlayStation should just literally, like, they released it as a blog post on Xbox Wire. That's how it should have been announced. That's what was happening. Talk less. Stop making these promises. Stop saying we're going to do this. We're looking at doing that. We want to do this for the game. We want to do that. Stop talking. Stop coming out, making these statements, because then 6 months, a year down the line, when that vision's changed because of whatever reason, everyone then refers back to last year's or 6 months ago's conversation where you're saying what was it? Phil had said, someone pulled a tweet up or a conversation up saying he encourages looking outside the box and not pushing people into doing one thing or another, and then these studios end up getting shut down. It's like they become their own worst enemy. I can understand why they're coming out and saying stuff, because they're in third place. They're trying to have the will of the play, the goodwill of the players and stuff like that. But then when you do that, it's like you're putting a noose around your neck ready to be tightened when that vision's changed, whether it's, as you say, investors or Satya wanting things changed, or they're looking at studios and they're not doing as well as they thought. But it's like near enough as Scott was saying, like all these other studios, if they're not making these banger games that are going to be commercial successes and make a lot of money, it's like they're at risk of being shut down. Double Fine, they've got Tim Schafer. I know Tim Schafer's like one of the best guys in the business, but doesn't mean he's safe, doesn't mean his company's safe. Because what was the last game they brought out? Psychonauts 2? How long ago was that now? How long ago was that in development? It's like, what are they working on now? Things are taking so long. Yeah, it doesn't matter. What money did it make? How many did it sell? How many just played it on Game Pass? How many bought it on PlayStation and PC? This is what I mean. If they're now looking at that consolidated, because they've just spent a hell of a lot of money. What are we looking at over the last 5 years? They've spent what was that Activision Blizzard? Was that 70
billion?
70 billion. And what was Bethesda?
7.5 billion.
Yeah. So you're talking nearly 80 billion on two publishers and all these studios.
Plus 8 studios acquired before on Ninja Theory. Double Fine.
No. But what about recently? Yeah, but you've got to think. Things have changed a lot since COVID. A lot of things have changed. Prices of everything's gone up, and the rest of it.
Fuck all.
But it's like now it's right. Okay, we've got all these stuff. We need to start streamlining what's going to make us money.
You would think they would have closed down the initiative, to be fair.
Yeah,
but
it might happen. Could happen, yeah.
But the thing that one of the things that people were like excited, and that Xbox managed to give that impression to everyone, is that we learn from our mistakes, from our previous mistakes, from like what happened to Lionhead, from what happened to Press Play Studios, where out of the sudden we decided to shut down them, and now we wished we hadn't, especially Lionhead. And with these studios that we are now acquiring, and I'm not just talking about Bethesda or Activision Blizzard King, I'm also talking about Ninja Theory, Playground Games, Double Fine Productions, Obsidian Entertainment, In Exile Entertainment, Undead Labs, Compulsion Games, and even now their new creative studio, The Initiative. And so every single studio that they've acquired also, like minus Mojang and 343 and Turn 10, like Xbox gave the impression to the fans and those developers that under our wing you are going to be safe. We know how the gaming industry is hard, and we have enough money to sustain every single one of you. No worries whatsoever. We are giving you the support, the technology, and the platform for you to use your creativity. We are not going to be messing around. You are here to thrive. And then out of the sudden, like
You're
everyone
not
was
thriving enough.
yeah, like and then out of the sudden, like they decide to, you know what? Let's just shut you down because like and because because that's why why because fucking that's why like it is a
So on
situation.
that point, Fabio, I don't know if you've seen. So while we've been chatting, so more stuff's come out. I think the guys touch on it as well. So apparently, one of the things that was said in like a town hall meeting today is that Tango and Arcane were shut down because they were pitching new games that were years away. Think about that. A game studio is pitching new games that will take years to develop. Like,
Uh,
yeah, water's fucking
yeah,
wet.
but
Like, of course, new games take
but
years
like
to develop. That's not a reason.
yeah, but like how many years would that take? Like 40 years? God damn it! Because like all of your games are being taken years away. So okay, we can expect now that the initiative will be shut
We
down,
can expect
or
Fallout
like
6 or Fallout 5 before 2030.
or
Though.
like Bethesda, that's going to be shut down as well because uh, Elder Scrolls and Fallout is going to take years to be in development.
Oh,
We
they
don't
won't touch
need,
that. They're not going to touch that. Todd Howard, you got
no,
no chance.
yeah, I know, but like I'm just going with the ridiculous argument of this, and like if that is true, if that is actually the thing, then it is the most stupid fuck up that they could have done because like State of Decay 3, are you shutting down on that labs? Ninja Fury, that's the one that everyone's like, you are next. What the fuck? Like, because are you
I
going
think
to
they
be
are.
shutting down Ninja Fury? Like, are you going to be shutting down Rare? Like, if they shut down Rare, oh,
Well, look,
I am going to have the wraith of 1,000
look how
stars if
long
they
it's
shut down
taken
Rare.
Ninja Theory. When they were independent when they brought the first game out, 8-hour experience, looks a beautiful game, a lot went into it. The second game they've done under Microsoft with all that financial backing, the best technology and everything else. It's the same length experience. It's only in 30 frames. I know that's debated, might not be out to do with this, but the fact that it looks like the same game but more beautiful, and in Unreal 5, it's like, well, how many years has it taken them to make this game? And it's only just coming out when we got the announcement back before the consoles, when the console was first announced.
But BMG,
But it's like, can they afford?
But BMG, the thing is, they've done the game the way they wanted to do without any sort of like let's just say
by
that the game is
encouragement,
completely the same thing, because literally Microsoft said you do your game the way you want to make, the way you want it for it to be.
And
like
exactly.
now Microsoft is saying, you know what, we regret giving you that much liberty, we are going to be shutting you down.
I can say, well, they did it with Tango Gameworks, with Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah, go ahead and do it.
Can I just say, Obsidian Games put out New Vegas in 18 months, just saying. Greatest Fallout ever made.
But when it came out, though, the technology then and how quickly you could get a game out, it's different now. It's taking longer to make games, and it's the cost of making the games, the running costs and all that, and then whatever else they've got to pay out for the using the Unreal Engine because they don't own Unreal. You've got to take all that
scale of games.
2030.
No, but like,
I'll be fucking dead before Fallout 5 comes out.
Like, consider how morale is on their own studios after what just happened. Bethesda, the studios that survived, they are not going to be working with the right mindset. They are going to be working like, we are so fucked. What have we done? Why have we joined this shit? Double Fine. Oh my god, Double Fine, Ninja Fury. Oh my god, we were promised something, and like it was all lies. Like, my god, we're going to be losing our jobs. Like, every single studio now is going to be working with the same kind of mindset, which is like, please get me out of this.
I think,
to be fair, I think Bungie's gonna be down the same road.
And like, Bungie's probably something like that. But like, couldn't they do the same thing that they've done with Toys for Bob in terms of like Tango. You have two options: either you become a support studio and we are going to be merging you to another one, you become independent, or we are going to be shutting you down. What do you prefer? Like, why couldn't they just like, we're giving you the option to become independent? Why Toys for Bob they decided to, it's okay, become
Maybe they,
independent. That's on you. You have people that are like
but
way
maybe
less
Toys for
people than
Bob
before.
were in a
It's
position
okay.
to buy themselves, that buy out.
Yeah,
like, buy
it's
themselves
probably
big.
money. It's gonna, you need to have the financial back, and like how much
They
did
haven't just let them go. I mean, they must have been able to buy themselves out of there. Fuck
yeah,
you.
like
Yeah, but
was
they
it
just
Saber that left
yeah, like
Embracer,
Yeah.
and
They've
I
gone
think it cost
independent.
them $500,000 or something
yeah,
like
but
that.
like
I think so.
we
It
don't know how.
requires the
Yes,
financial backing
yes.
of it. Toys for Bob will be the same. And I guess the thing is with that, Fabio's, I guess, and we're speculating here because that's all we can do. We don't know. Maybe those options were considered. Maybe they
And they decided to say
weren't
we are going to
viable.
shut.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have the money to buy themselves out. Their games have just gone on the fucking Game Pass. They've only been able to secure like a deal just to get.
Yeah,
games on the
but
Game
it
Pass.
wouldn't be the money that comes from games that will that would put them in a position to support that. They would have to have investors either already at the company or other investors that are willing to essentially buy them. I think that's what's happened with some other studios, like I say, those
And
that
like
have left Embracer.
and like continuing the line of thoughts that I'm doing, like the studios of Xbox Game Studios are now in fear. The fans are in fear for what's going to be happening now to those studios, especially Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory is now the main focus of what's going to be going on with that. I think the next one is going to be Double Fine, honestly. Uh, and
I don't think it will because of Tim. I don't think it's Tim Schafer's like Todd Howard. You wouldn't touch it. I don't think they would risk
I
touching
don't know.
Double Fine
I don't
because
know.
Tim Schafer is like Todd Howard class of video game developers. I don't
And
think they would touch him.
but
I
so,
think
yeah,
there would
but
be too much risk touching him and his
and
studio.
what happens the moment he retires?
If that's different, if he's gone, it's different. But while he's head of
Turn our
Double
back.
Fine,
Oh, thank God.
yeah,
Oh, thank God that guy left. Now we can shut you down.
I think they would. While Tim Schafer's still running and in charge of Double Fine, I don't think they'll touch it. It's like
Like,
when
Playground.
Todd Howard goes,
Playground,
I
pretty
think,
much safe.
yeah, when Todd Howard's gone, when he retires or whatever, them IP, your Elder Scrolls, your Fallouts, and anything else, I think could end up being open season for other studios to work on them games. And I think that's a possibility. We've had cuts from ABK. We've now had cuts from Bethesda. So Xbox Studios is next in line. And
Xbox Studios has already had cuts. Like
had
they've already had
343.
cuts in the past. Yeah, 343 had their entire campaign team gutted. There may be
Yes.
more, obviously, BMG, but like, they've kind of already they've already
Like,
been impacted. We spoke about the initiative earlier,
but like,
and
I think, to be fair, I think just talk about
wait a
iconic
second.
games.
Let me just finish like
hang on,
what I was
let's
going
hang
to
on,
say. Like
yeah.
real quickly, like the studios are in fear, and now Microsoft. I think Microsoft is not going to be, if they intended to acquire any studio in the future, who is going to accept being bought by them now? Because like
you'd probably be surprised,
talk,
Fabio.
Yeah.
would they be willing?
Suits who want money
Money
will probably accept it.
Or
I
like,
agree with your sentiment that like
no,
developers
let's
shouldn't
consider a
want to.
small studio. A small studio.
Yeah.
Let's consider like they're going to be buying a small studio, just like they did with Ninja Theory or Double Fine. Like,
Yeah.
who is going to, like? Let's say like, oh, we want to acquire Moon Studios. I know the owner of Moon Studios said that I will never do something like that. But like, imagine that he was more open-minded. Now he's going to be close-minded as fuck.
Well, I mean, he already
said.
was. He's spoken about it. He
Yeah,
said,
but like,
in
yes, I
reaction,
know,
he
but
was
like,
like, "You want to know why? It's this."
yeah, but like, let's
Yeah,
imagine
I think
that he was more
Yeah.
open-minded. But like, imagine like how,
I think Xbox only bought Ninja
which-
Theory as a fuck you
like-
to PlayStation.
like which Japanese studio, if Microsoft intends to, like, I don't know, like, I feel honestly, I think gone are the dreams that everyone could have had of Microsoft and Xbox acquiring Sega. Sega is never now going to be part of Xbox because they just saw what they done with their only Japanese studio there.
Yeah, but if Microsoft comes knocking and offers to throw billions
And
of
like,
dollars,
here's the
at you,
thing:
you're not gonna turn
Japanese
it down,
people
are you?
and like Japanese people take it very personal, honestly. So yeah, they are not going to be doing that.
Just to touch on what Iconic said, he says Peter Molyneux left Lionhead and look what happened. I think Peter Molyneux was like the downfall of Lionhead personally, because like he was notorious for over-promising and under-delivering. So I think, I think him being at Lionhead was probably the fucking downfall for that.
Man, just gonna say, I really like the Fable Legends beta that I played. Just gonna say it. But I think Lionhead's actually a massive shame, and it's actually funny because one of the clips that went around yesterday was a clip from Sarah Bond from some sort of documentary that came out last year.
Power On, the Xbox documentary.
And they spoke about how they took learnings from what happened with Lionhead. And then a year later, and that's when I was saying earlier about like it wasn't them on the ass.
No, it wasn't a year before. That documentary, Power On Xbox Story, was released at the year that the Xbox Series X and S got released, because it was marking 20 years of Xbox. They decided to make that documentary, and it's a really amazing documentary. Everyone should watch it. But like,
what have they learned? Nothing.
Yeah, like they said, like Phil Spencer said during this documentary, talking about Lionhead, you don't acquire a studio. Like, you acquire a studio for what they are good now, and your job is to accelerate in what they're good at doing. You don't acquire them for them to accelerate what you do. And out of the sudden, you know what, guys? Yeah, this isn't working out. Just let's shut it down.
I think it's more for the IP, because the IP is worth more than the people working on it.
But Tango,
who's going to be working on The Evil Within now?
Yeah,
who's going to be working now? Yeah. Come on, like, you got IPs, nice. Got IPs.
You license them out. You license them out. That's it. They've got so many IPs now, and if they're going to close more studios, lay off more staff, they're gonna have to find people to work on these IPs. Who, when, where? I don't know.
Is it going to be as good as the original creators?
They've been sitting on Rare's back catalog for fucking years, and they've done nothing with those IPs.
Yeah, it could go into the vault.
Yeah, I mean, and using Halo as kind of a really high-profile example, one of the things people have been calling out for is alternative Halo games in different genres. You know, we obviously had like Halo Wars and things like that. They've got this massive IP, which regardless of it's another example. Rather, it's like, I understand what you're saying, BMG, but I don't think there's any evidence to support that that's like what they're thinking, which is like, we don't want to hire the developers internally. What we're acquiring here is the IPs. We're then going to leverage those IPs by licensing them out to other development studios. I don't think there's any evidence that would suggest that they're going that way. I think, at least when you look at what they're speaking about publicly, which, you know, take that at face value, you know, it is about the talent, having more developers, having more studios that allows them to pump content into Game Pass. That's been their whole thing for years now. And
like, think like this, BMG. They acquire Lionhead, they shut it down in 2016. They are now owning the IP. If they haven't acquired Playground Games, when would be getting a new game? They need developers. They need the studio.
I know, but you
like, how long did it take for them to actually get a new Fable?
Now. Look at the IPs that like Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks. Look at the IPs. I know it's part of Bethesda, but the IPs they're working on that's come in with the deal, and they've shut them studios down.
Right. Yes, and who's going to be working now on those IPs?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's rather because they're now getting rid of studios and staff, and then they've got that much IP, they haven't got enough studios to work on. It's rather they go into the vault and not get touched for years, or they go the route that Disney has done a lot by, license them out for a stupid amount of money, and the game still ends up in Game Pass, and they're not footing most of the bill.
If they were actually going to be doing that, they would have, in the moment that Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon got the Insane trilogy and the Reignited trilogy, they would have done a licensing thing for a Banjo-Kazooie game as well, because like that was the perfect moment for them to. Everyone's loving a platform game. On
but who's
Crash and Spyro.
craving Banjo-Kazooie? Who's craving Banjo-Kazooie? No one.
The same way as nobody was caring about Crash and Spyro before that game.
And who've they licensed that out to?
It still blows my mind. It still blows my mind after all this time. We still don't have a Halo, Doom, and Quake crossover.
Yeah, but they've now licensed out the Crash or Spyro IP, whichever one's being worked on at the moment, to Toys for Bob.
We don't know if it's one of them, do we?
Well, they teased it. They teased it was Spyro. We know it's Spyro, but they've licensed it out. But they've now got to look at Phil Spencer would love to do a Banjo game and stuff. But the thing is now,
give me another Viva Pinata.
If the noose is getting tighter, and Phil Spencer's getting pressure from above, it's now like, right, now we need to concentrate on doing IPs that's going to bring us the biggest returns. It's going to have the biggest reception. We can get on everywhere and bring us the biggest returns. And I think that's what we're going to see more of.
Okay, so after, if Avowed doesn't work, Obsidian is done, because that's it. Because like Pentiment is not doing great. Grounded is successful, but like not monetarily.
Yeah,
like Grounded is amazing. I know, but like it's making that much money. It's not. It doesn't have any monetization.
Right.
So, like,
well, look at Hi-Fi Rush. Look what Hi-Fi Rush has just done. How commercial success, how much it's sold, and they've shut the studio down.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If Avowed
after promising to invest in that studio,
doesn't work out, Obsidian is the next one then.
Yeah, but Obsidian doesn't mean they might not shut them down. They might give them one of Bethesda's IP. They might give them another IP that the Xbox decide, right, you're working on what we're saying on, or they'll integrate them into somewhere else. You just don't know. No, we don't know the route they're going. To me, it sounds like they're getting pressure from it higher above. They've got to tighten the belt. They've got to make things so they're making games that they know they're going to make a bigger return on. Your Halo, as Scott says, the microtransactions with the multiplayer is making money. Call of Duty is going to make money. Your Elder Scrolls Online, your Fallout 76, they're making money. Sea of Thieves, that's making money. These big games in studios aren't going to get touched. But these smaller games, if it's taking so long to make, I think Initiative, to be honest, I think is the next studio to get closed down. I don't think we're going to see Perfect
They haven't even put a fucking game out yet.
Yeah, but it is. Look how many years they've been working on it. It's gone through hell. The rebooted development.
What a developer.
The game, they've lost game developer. What is it? Are they on the third game developer now? It's fucked. That game's fucked. It's going.
They announced the creation of the Initiative in 2018.
Oh.
Like, it's been a long time. And in 2020, they make the teaser of Perfect Dark and nothing.
4 years later, no one's seen a fucking heard a word from it since. The trailer looked good, though.
But the game, because Phil Spencer went to the studio and he was playing, obviously, development of the game. But what he played's gone because they rebooted it all. And that was on the second game developer.
Yeah, but like during the development, weren't like the moment they announced that it's Crystal Dynamics that is helping the studio now, right?
And you look at the problems they're having.
But Matt Booty himself said something like, "Yeah, I've been seeing how the studio is working. We'll probably have something to share on the next."
Get the booty out. That's the answer.
And out of the sudden, that's it. It's supposed to be this year for them to show something. They are not probably. Yeah,
it's not. No, you're not. You're not going to see anything from them.
Especially if reports better management. That's what it comes down to. These studios need better management. They need to be fucking hitting deadlines. They need to be fucking putting out games that people actually want to fucking play.
But again, you don't know what
to come out. They need multiple updates.
Yeah, but it's all right. It's all right. Previously, Phil Spencer says we're giving them all the time in the world. Take the time. There's no rush to get a game out.
That needs to change.
But that's what I mean. But things are changing from higher up. So now maybe these devs are under pressure. Right, your budget's being cut. You're going to have to alter the game, change the game because you've lost X amount. this is what I mean. This is what we don't know. We don't know what's going on internally that's now affecting all the studios under Microsoft Gaming.
I think Satya's gone. Phil, your studios are starting to take the piss and close some.
As Darth Vader once said to Lando Calrissian, "I'm altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it anymore."
But Satya, and he's publicly said it, and he's quite all for it. He wants games everywhere. He wants to earn the maximum he can out of games. He doesn't like exclusives. He said he doesn't like exclusives. If he wants everything, but that's Satya wants. He's not looking at it as just for Xbox. He's looking at it as Microsoft as a whole. Get it everywhere. Get maximum revenue. We understand.
Game Pass has stagnated.
Yeah, I know. But you look, they're seeing this success on PlayStation on 3 of the 4 games. Hi-Fi Rush has sold well. Sea of Thieves is an absolute banger. Pentiment not done very well. Grounded's doing very well. So it's like they're now looking at these things thinking, what other big IP can we put over that we've got maximum out of on our console that we can now put there? I think you're going to see a lot more.
The only way they're ever going to get the kind of Game Pass sales that they actually want is if they put Game Pass on PlayStation.
Which PlayStation won't allow? They've already said. So
that's the only way it's going to work.
You won't.
I could see Game Pass going on PlayStation, but only in the world where Xbox hardware is no longer a thing. In the same way that Ubisoft Plus and EA Play, for example, are on there. But
get rid of your hardware, you could have it on PlayStation.
Yeah, but that's the thing. In a world where Xbox just becomes a games publisher and not a hardware or platform maker, I do see that as something that's feasible. Now, whether we get there or not, it's obviously an entirely different matter. But I think really that Xbox need to make that decision. Need to make that. What are we? Are we a platform or are we a publisher? I think they really do need to figure out where they see their future within the games industry. And I think a lot of it is dictated by Microsoft. Like if you look at what Microsoft are doing, Xbox typically follows. Microsoft historically were obviously just Windows. But then things like Office, you can only get on Windows. But they saw the benefits of expanding Office. Office is now on everything. It's on Mac. It's on your iPhone. It's not just on Windows, because that's how they saw about leveraging the software and getting it in as many people's hands as they possibly can. They obviously moved everything like Office 365 or Microsoft 365, whatever it's called now, was moved to a subscription model. Here's our game subscription model. Obviously, they've got a big focus on cloud. Here's our cloud gaming model. And obviously what we see with Microsoft now is a big push towards AI. And what have they been talking about recently? AI in games. So if you look at what Microsoft are doing, Xbox will typically follow because it's dictated by the higher ups within Microsoft as a whole.
By the way, let me just interrupt you there. I don't know if you guys talked about this or something like that, or if you saw, but I got just shared like something saying new. The Verge is reporting Xbox executives have been debating for months whether or not to put Call of Duty on Xbox Game Pass because of how much revenue will be lost.
Yeah, Luke Steele mentioned it in the chat because you're not getting that $70 game. That's if you put it in Game Pass, you're not getting people buying it on Xbox.
But the bulk of Call of Duty's revenue is coming off fucking skins and weapons and weapon blueprints and shit. That's where the bulk of the revenue is coming from Call of Duty.
No, but like because it is a continuous revenue, but they still like. Here's the thing. Skins, DLCs, battle passes, loot boxes, they are long-term revenue. Yeah. They are from people that continue to play and consume every single time they are there. They are probably not just going to be wanting the long-term thing, they want also the immediate thing. And what is the immediate thing? Unit sales. And that is a really fucked up thing if they decided to we're not going to be putting Call of Duty on Game Pass because remember this year at the beginning of the year on the Xbox podcast, Matt Booty and Sarah Bone both said all of our games will be on Game Pass day one.
Things change.
But I think things can change.
More people will be hating on it, and then we are fucking done. I don't know.
I think going back on that particular promise, Fabio, I think that would be truly catastrophic. Like, I think what we're talking about now is like, I think we're obviously in this bubble where we're very much invested in just this community, gaming as a whole. I think news like this, I don't think really extends too much beyond this. I think if you ask people who don't pay attention, the layoffs happen all the time. There's layoffs every bloody week. The company I work at's just have layoffs. They happen everywhere, so I think we're very much kind of in the weeds with these sorts of things, and it's very easy for us to react in the way that we do. But I think we are a very small part of the overall user base across, the entire sort of gaming community. But something like Call of Duty not being on Game Pass, when that was kind of the whole thing, I think that would be truly catastrophic for
they were to do that.
Brand. And
all that would do is scream, "We don't believe in Game Pass." It would scream, "We don't believe in Game Pass."
Exactly, that's what they are saying.
Yeah,
and it is a situation of like, it's not a situation just like a lot of people love to say that. Phil Spencer in 2016 said that all of Xbox games are not going to be day one on PC as well, and then all of a sudden they become day one on PC. I always say that Sony also, as well as Sony developers, Insomniac said, our games are never going to be on PC because it is a PlayStation. We are a PlayStation studio. And then all of a sudden, games are coming to PC as well. And like, this is a difference of years, like that this original post was made and to what happened before. In the situation of Call of Duty, it is a difference of months. It is like, are you changing your goddamn vision every 2 to 6 weeks? Is that what you're telling me? Because
this is why they shouldn't speak.
Because like all of a sudden, like on the podcast, February probably, like all of our games are day one on Game Pass, and then out of the sudden, no, not every single game is going to be on Game Pass because Call of Duty is way too valuable. Nice.
To not put it on Game Pass at this point will just highlight the fact that they don't truly believe in Game Pass. And then the consumers will be, well, they don't believe in Game Pass, so why should we? Why should we invest into it if they don't believe in it?
And like,
I think
at this point they have to.
And the worst part is like, it goes to a worse fury of like, wait, they don't believe in Game Pass for Call of Duty, but they just don't give a fucking for the studios that they are not doing Call of Duty. They are like, put it on Game Pass, just don't get any revenue. Like, if they're saying that, like, we're not going to be getting any revenue at all from Game Pass, like, so we are okay to sabotage everything, but Call of Duty is way too precious. We cannot do something like that. Like, Jesus. And like, take into consideration that Game Pass, it was already said, like, Game Pass has 34 million users, subscribers across every platform that is available right now, and it makes $4 billion per year. It makes $4 billion per year. They invest around $1 billion to put all the games that they put throughout that particular year as well. They are still getting $3 billion out of that. And still, you are going to be saying we are going to be losing way too much money. Like, so you wanted what, $70 billion in 2 months? Is that what you're
I don't think it's a case of losing too much money. I think it's just not making enough money for a company like Microsoft. Ultimately, I don't think the content and services revenue, when you look at it, is up. The hardware sales are shite, but the content and services revenue is still going well. They're still are still having unbelievable quarters, and obviously now with the ABK revenue coming in, they're setting records every quarter again, or they will kind of continue to do so because they've got an extra, I don't know, couple of billion in additional quarterly revenue coming in. I think the Call of Duty on Game Pass thing is interesting because I think if you were to ask me personally, I think from a business perspective, not smart. They shouldn't put on Game Pass. It's not smart. Going back to my earlier point about the saturation of subscribers on console, all you're doing is losing money because you're not going to sell any additional subscribers based on Game Pass because you don't have the hardware user base to sell those subscriptions to. if everybody who's already got Game Pass plays Call of Duty anyway, well, you're not getting a new subscriber. You're not getting any new revenue from those customers. All you're doing, let's say it sells 1 million at $70 on this. Yeah, sells 1 million units on Xbox. All you're doing is you lose almost $70 million. And going back to Fabio's point earlier, which is kind of upfront revenue there and then day one. But saying that, it would be even worse, I think, from a brand perspective for them not to follow through on that promise that they've made about first party games going on Game Pass. I think when they made that decision, like there's a lot of, I think we said it a few times, you know, things change, they can change their mind, things like that. I think there are a few things that you can't pivot from, you cannot change. And that's one of them. You've made the decision to promise this is our service, this is our platform, and all of our first party games come to this platform day and day. You can't pick and choose which games go on that. You're either in or you're out, and they've already made the decision to go in. They can't turn back on that. So if they are having those discussions, I really hope for their perspective that they don't go through with excluding it from Game Pass. Obviously, unless there was a contractual reason for it, you know, the marketing rights. You know, I can maybe understand why last year's Call of Duty isn't on there already, because there's maybe some contractual thing with Sony that's preventing them to do so. But where there's no contractual or legal reason for them to do so, I think that would be catastrophic. And Mobbit, no, I honestly don't because I just don't think the PC market is ready for or not necessarily not being ready. I just don't think that market is susceptible to that service. And I think that's one of the things that they've seen, you know, going back to my earlier point, they talk about growth on PC. They talk about PC being the biggest growth area for Game Pass. But, you know, if you saw 10 subscriptions last week and 20 subscriptions this week, well, there's 100% growth week on week. You know, I imagine the volumes on PC are much smaller, that allow you to kind of talk about such high growth percentages. No, I don't think it is, because PC gamers don't appear to be susceptible to Game Pass in the same way that console users are. How do you change that? Well, you need to sell more consoles. They're not selling more consoles, so they're not selling more subscriptions. And then they can't fix it. They can't fix it without selling more hardware, in my opinion. So they really do need to double down on hardware and giving people a reason to buy that hardware, which comes down to exclusives. But they're now putting the exclusive games on other platforms. So why are people going to buy the hardware?
You would think this Christmas there would be a fucking Call of Duty limited edition console that comes with like a year of Game Pass. Do you know what I mean? Just anything to get more consoles out the fucking door. Because I agree with you. I think the only way they're going to get more subscribers at this point is to push out more hardware or get that fucking Game Pass onto PlayStation. I think that's the only way you're going to get those.
But I think one way for them to do that is to like at least try to exploit what you already have. Like put Call of Duty on Game Pass, see what happens. Put Activision Blizzard games on Game Pass. Try to see what happens. Imagine if like Blizzard announces the next Diablo, or they announce the next StarCraft, and it's going to be available on console, and then everyone is going to be excited for it. And like, why wouldn't they put on Game Pass to see and try it out? So the amount of people there are going, like, I really don't see how the math fits in terms of like the next Call of Duty is here, and we're going to be putting on Game Pass, and we're not going to have, and like from 34 million players, we are just going to be having 35. And then, like, that's the growth that I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not going to say that out of the sudden it's going to have 100 million subscribers or stuff like that, but I think there's going to be a considerable growth in terms of subscribers, because like it is going to be good for them, because a lot of people really enjoy Call of Duty. There's tons of it. Doesn't matter how bad the next Call of Duty is going to be. It doesn't matter if IGN or whatever the hell it is, or Metacritic hates it. It's always selling hotcakes. It's just like the situation of like, imagine if like Microsoft acquires EA. So of course it's not going to happen, but like imagine Microsoft acquires EA, and they have Madden NFL, which is like there every single year. American football is a really powerful entertainment business in terms of like the revenue that you can get. And EA did a really show for a long time. It has been doing the show for a long time with Madden. Still, they make money. They make a lot of profit. Why wouldn't you? If let's say if they acquire EA, why wouldn't they put Madden NFL on Game Pass?
I mean, Madden is in EA Play Premium on PC.
Yeah, but like imagine. Yeah, but no, but like here's the. It is.
I don't know what. I don't know what it's called. Yeah, EA have a day and day.
I think it is a 10-hour trial or something like that. That is available.
No. So EA Play has two subscriptions. It's got EA Play, which is the one that's in Ultimate, which is like the back catalog, and then they've got EA Play Pro, which is Game Pass Ultimate, but for EA games.
But like you get Madden's the full game
every EA games in their day one. Yeah.
Seriously,
I think it's only on PC. I think it's only on PC. So
it's like Ubisoft Plus, whatever it's called.
I thought it was just like you get a 10-hour game for the next Madden, and then like after some time that the game gets released, it is available there. Yeah,
that's a normal
price increase for the EA Pro subscription. There's not a fucking chance.
But I think that's kind of what. Sorry, Fabio, go on, mate.
No, but continue to the situation of Call of Duty that I tried to use Madden as well. Like, I really think there will be some growth, some like nice growth for them to like, let's continue to do this, let's continue to invest, because they're going to get money from PlayStation anyways, because there's going to be people that are not going to be subscribed. They will continue to pay $70 for the game. They would be getting money from Xbox players because there's players that go to Game Pass, there's players that buy the game, there's players that do even both, that subscribe to Game Pass and buy the damn game. And yeah.
I guess just I can see Reddit is getting tired. I was
just going to say, have you noticed how heavy BMG's eyes have gone?
I was just going to say just one more question. Then obviously you might want to wrap it up, Reddit. I guess the question I would ask on that point is, where do you see that growth? So you're saying putting Call of Duty on Game Pass will lead to growth. Which market do you see that growth in? Is it the console Game Pass subscribers, PC game subscribers, cloud game subscribers? Where do you see that growth? And that's why
I just think Game Pass in general. I don't know in terms of like which one would be specifically. I think in general there would be growth.
Yeah, it probably would move the needle a bit. I guess I think going back to my earlier point is just I don't see that growth being there to sufficiently offset the loss in sales, basically. So yeah, it's a tricky one. But Reddit, I can see you tired, mate. So I'll show you.
So let's just resume everything. Like we are sad, we are tired, we are angry with what's happening to Xbox. But I at least am going to continue to stick to see what happens in the end of the tunnel. Let's see what happens.
Fabio, go and paint yourself green and get on TikTok.
Are you going to be living in Xbox then, Radders? Are you going to be living in Xbox?
I'm thinking about it. I'm seriously considering it. First time in a while, I've actually seriously been considering it.
Okay. If anyone wants to be the host of the XBL Party Podcast, come on.
I'm sick of the one step forward, two steps back fucking shit that they're just constantly doing. Like every time you get something, this is doing exciting. Oh, for fuck's sake, Xbox is one of those. Like you can never get excited about anything because they just shit on it a few months later.
Anyway. Or a few weeks later.
Yeah.
In this case. I was excited for the showcase last week, and then this week
it is so bizarre. Well, anyways, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
I'm going to call it a night. I'll tell you, we've got 85 people watching this on Twitter. Actually, no, I think it's like 75 on Twitter and like another 11 on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We are back again next week at the same time of 8:30. So be sure to tune in for that. Scott, thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure to have you on here and getting your insights on stuff. Thanks to everyone that's tuned into chat, and thank you for Drawn NT for the donations and shit. That's very appreciated. And on that note, we're going to call it a night, and we will see you next week. Good night.
Hail
everyone.
Satan.
You're a fucking arsehole.